Hello, welcome to Karagor Studios Remnant Lunar Archon Session 66, Order 66, Execute the Jedi, all that jazz. I
That's
hope you
why
like
there
the
was
picture.
Darth Vader there.
Yes.
What day is it?
Oh, right. Thanks for reminding me. In-game, Future Micah, it is Friday, the 9th of June, year 417, post-Schism. The time is still... Hello? Okay,
Hi.
the time broke for a second. It's back now. It's 11 a.m., Friday, the 9th of June, year 417, post-Schism. There we go.
Bad things happen if
Yeah.
time breaks.
Bad things do happen if time breaks. Y'all don't want to see time break. Well,
New objective.
break time.
I will.
Let's see. I could have Jack do it, but you are... Are you able to give it, Jack? Are you able to do the recap? You are currently muted on our side. I don't know if it mute unmute.
Can you hear me?
Unmuted.
Can hear you now.
Like, sure.
Okie doke.
Long story short, we arrived to Vacuo. We were quickly over encumbered by all of the options and choices. There are some things on our list in terms of receiving a book for Sasha, finding out how we can teleport places, as well as the Queen, the mercenary group, and checking out some weapons. Doug did pass off his shattered memory, so he is not in possession of it at the moment. Thicket did receive a flower, and so we were, I think, we had found a flyer for a race, and we were debating on how we were going to go about participating in said race. I think that covers most of it.
I think so. That should be pretty much there. I'm also going to turn up my internal audio on the recording because I noticed the last few times it's quiet. Yeah, pretty much. Y'all got into town, you looked around, you pawned off, well, didn't pawn off, but you handed off your object, which I think you did not pay ahead of time because she told you effectively if you don't end up coming back for it, she's just going to eventually sell it to someone else.
Oh, I think I took it off of my sheet.
Yes. You took that.
But yeah, I do remember. Yeah, I do remember I took it off the sheet.
The money or the item?
The money. I didn't know about the item.
Well, I'm also going to remove the item from your sheet. Okay, well, we'll say you paid ahead of time then. I think it was the full 50 gold she charged you to fix it, if I remember correctly. Is that right?
Sounds about right. Sounds about right.
It was something like that. I'm sure it's fine. I believe you about paying it ahead of time. You supplied her with the stuff. Y'all looked at her different things. Geislinus Gambit decided that they wanted to buy some things, but y'all don't have the money. Looking around for money-making opportunities, y'all found out about the race, which has potential to win y'all upwards of 5,000 gold pieces, which would be a hefty bonus for the party. Y'all ended up walking around trying to figure out how to get into the clock tower where Simeon works. Y'all left a message with a secretary that is going to be passed along to Asuka Yori, and that she will be able to find you at the Dapper Bee. That message was sent, and then I think y'all walked to the Dapper Bee and then back to where the registration is on the north, which isn't too far away from the Dapper Bee, on the northwest side of town, near the northwest exit is where the current registration is. So that's where y'all were going. I believe we decided y'all got there because you got a little bit of the information, such as how much the payment was to enter, which is 25 before the date of the 11th, or 50 before the date of the 18th. The race is going to take place at noon on Tuesday the 20th. If y'all got some ideas about the race rules. And I don't know if y'all wanted to go ahead and register or what, but the floor is up to you now as y'all are out in the almost noonday sun in Vacuo. Presumably would be talking to this fairly nice human man who is in a fine coat that looks a little bit warm given the weather. But he is able
Date
to...
again?
It is the Friday, the 9th of June. There's about a week and a half before the race.
So we need to register by Sunday.
Sunday the 11th, yep, is when the first of the two cutoff dates is, and then if you wait for the second cutoff date, you have to pay an extra 25 gold.
What were we playing? We just asked about the race. Went to go try to find Simeon. What were our other goals in town?
Honestly, it was the pieces of Avalon, and we went there, and then it was doing different research things and possibly seeing about some sort of teleport arrangement, which may come up through Simeon, may come up through Sylvia, but some kind of way to maybe get back over to the east at some point so that we can go deal with the witches of the north who have presumably have the which one is that one? That is the calcite serpentine gem sword. So nicely done, nicely done. That's like right exactly the area. So thanks, Micah.
Happy to help.
So yeah, that's like to the east, probably a little bit north. Like so we'll go northeast by east. But yeah, a lot of it's going to be like research, or if like, and Mike had options of like doing random things throughout our time here while we're waiting, or if we wanted to try to see about getting into any shenanigans or whatever. But I feel like there's so many things on our plate already that we don't necessarily need to go looking for shenanigans. You know, that's not to say that they won't happen anyway, but you know, I think maybe this time we don't necessarily need to go looking for them. Aside from that, it's like probably need to like talk over lunch. How do we want to try to win first and second place? Because second place is 2,000.
Yes.
Right? So yeah, so you know, 7,000 is more than 5,000. So we need to win first and second place.
And assuming you're going to bet on yourselves, you might be able to make quite a bit more depending on how much you choose to bet.
I think the idea would be not putting all of our eggs in the second place basket and just trying to work hard to get that second place, but then putting our eggs in the thicket basket and getting first. Oh, that's someone's turning. Yeah, Doug must be turning left on his horse and cart.
You know, if you could turn left in this state.
Could be right.
That's true. Cheyenne said it could have been right. I was being facetious and saying it was automatically left.
Still,
but yes,
she's right.
It could be correct. It could be right.
I can't remember which state you're in, but I know it's not Michigan. So I didn't know there were other states that did Michigan lefts too.
Yeah, I forgot I wasn't muted.
That's okay. You don't have to be.
It was enjoyable. It felt like we were all along for the ride. So the idea would be that who could theoretically control a secondary critter, like who among us?
So
Is Jackie of age?
Jackie wouldn't be able to carry me. She's not large.
That's of
No,
size.
but like- but Jackie could carry. Well, I would say thicket, but I don't know. A
What are my
smaller.
limits? What are my limits on polymorph?
Up to the level of the person. Or CR of the creature.
We can be T-Rexes.
At this point, I think y'all can be up to mammoths. I think y'all have one more level before you can be T-Rexes.
So I mean, I could polymorph Jackie into whatever, like something on the same level as what Thicket will turn into.
I think it's believes wanted to be a lion.
Yeah, Thicket wants to be a lion, but
We can
will
enter two
also
lions.
be a riding horse or a war horse.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we want something with good speed and the ability to maybe jump, like without some kind of like athletics or acrobatics or whatever.
That would be lion.
Speed and power.
Yeah. And then Longstrider. Longstrider is going to give that's a we can do that as a ritual. Because I'm pretty sure Thicket has ritual.
I can't cast while I'm a lion though.
Yeah, but you can cast it beforehand and it'll still last because Longstrider is not one that requires concentration.
Yeah,
So-
but let me check. I think
You can
it
hold
lasts only like a minute though.
Longstrider is only a minute.
Hmm.
If that's true, that's
Ooh, I just found out a great way of cheating.
Oh, Longstrider
Um,
lasts an hour. I was thinking
Yeah.
of what was I thinking of? I was thinking of haste, I think.
oh yeah, haste is only a minute.
Wait, y'all are level 8 now, right?
Yeah.
yes.
I was wrong. You can turn into a T-Rex.
I was thinking of
Oh yeah, we could eat the
accelerate.
competition.
No, I don't. Oh,
You-
accelerate. Yeah, you can turn into accelerate from Ben 10. That sounds good.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, like, I don't think we're gonna be able to eat them, but we could theoretically scare. But here's the thing, right? You could theoretically scare an animal to be like, ah, and I think
Oh,
that's
that's fair.
you know what I mean, like, because I feel like like eating the competition is probably not within the spirit of the race.
You are
But
not
being-
allowed to intentionally harm the competition with like magic. You can't use magic that is intentionally meant to harm a competition. Like you can't fireball them. Things
Question.
like web are allowed. Fireball is not.
What is
Well,
the track
that's-
like?
The track? You haven't gotten a lot of information. You can ask the guy if you'd like.
Because I was thinking we could like, depending on if there's like a 500-foot span where there's like not a crowd watching,
yeah,
you could just dimension door and like jump ahead. You'd have to have a bit of a lead, like it'd have to be like around the corner so people couldn't see you do it, like the other racers.
no, I feel like let's try to hold off on cheating. Let's like I don't know. I mean, it's possible that someone might do that, you know. And, oh, it's like a NOS boost, you know. I don't know. Maybe, but
Give the T-Rex beans.
that's horrible. Might as well give him like a laxative at that point.
Jason?
Yay!
Trying to dimension door feels like too complicated to try and pull off.
Why is that complicated?
Worth noting, it does mean that John has to be one of the riders.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I
Yep.
thought John was going to be casting polymorph because John is. That's one of the things is of the dimension door and polymorph idea. John can only concentrate on. Well, I mean, he could concentrate on a spell, so I guess that wouldn't be that wouldn't necessarily be an issue. You could dimension door and polymorph. Whether or not that's within the rules, who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
Thicket
that
can
works out
also
for me.
polymorph, but I don't
Yeah,
know
but
how long
you have
the.
You have to concentrate to polymorph, which means
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
you can't transform and do polymorph and concentrate at the same time.
I can transform and cast polymorph,
But that means they can only do the one.
but I
spell.
can't cast anything else that's concentration.
Right, and I
Like
don't.
Longstrider.
Well, Longstrider's I don't think it's concentration, is it?
Longstrider is not
Um,
concentration. It lasts for 1 hour. It
is
is
it?
not concentration, and if you cast it using a second level spell or higher, you can target one additional creature for each additional level of spell.
Right. So here's
Oh, it's not. fun.
let me. Okay. So I've been trying to like superpower game this already. So
Yes.
I'll tell you where I'm at, and then you let me know, like, and you guys, right now, are you okay with like a little bit of meta and like I'm not like in character and everything because I'm trying to? Is that okay,
Sure.
Micah?
I'm sure
Okay.
your characters would know how to talk about it in game in a way that would make sense.
Okay. So T-Rex was one that I was looking at, and that's awesome, and I think it could work if we want to go the scaring route. So like, don't put that off the table. But honestly, Lion is good, and like Direwolf is good because you could trip. But again, some of the damage stuff. So there's plenty of options there. But my thought process is that we have one person who's holding all the bets, right? Who's like, oh, I've got XYZ bet, and he's got all the bet tickets, right? Or she. Well, no, it's all dudes. Yeah, it's he. So he has all the bet tickets. And then that could very easily be John, who therefore he wouldn't be in any danger of not being able to concentrate on keeping the polymorph going.
True.
And then theoretically, the idea would be like maybe Gambit would be polymorphed. And then Doug would be riding on Thicket, and Garon would be riding on Gambit. And with Garon there, he could throw in some Bardic after you, because you would use Bardic for everybody else first. Okay. And then everybody would have the Bardic. So if we needed like 4 successes, we'd get some. We'd all have four dice or whatever, and then I would be able to give them an extra one later on. So there's still that other opportunity. Like I'm passing. Oh yeah. Well, while we're riding, as my bonus action, I'm going to give Thicket this Bardic. So that's kind of why it would be those teams. And then the idea would be that Thicket would be concentrating on it was Owl's Wisdom, I think, for advantage on all perception, so that we could see anything that might be coming, and any insight. So everybody would have, or the 2, or depending on whatever spell he casts level wise, or as an alternative, strength for things like athletics and some of the other checks that may come up with that. But that would be Thicket's concentration spell. Then the Longstrider would be fine because it's a ritual and does not require concentration, and the race probably is not an hour long. So at that, it would then come down to Gambit's personality, which Gambit trusts Garon, so Gambit would be receptive to Garon being like, "Hey, let's go left," or whatever.
Trust Garon?
Yes.
For the love of Pete, Micah.
Listen, I just you have to know sometimes. Worth checking.
How did you not know that? How did you not know that?
I just check,
You're wildly out of control, sir. You are wildly out of control. And then between both Doug and Thicket, they would be able to see stuff. That means that even if Garon might miss something, which is highly probable because of his low wisdom, they might still be able to see it and therefore point it out, and therefore Garon would not necessarily miss it. And so since the idea would be for Garon and Gambit to be second place, and effectively we'd be running like interference, scaring everybody off as a T-Rex. Again, this is my primary idea, is terrifying them.
I have a note.
Go ahead.
I don't think Longstrider's a ritual cast.
It's not.
It's not?
It's a ritual cast in Baldur's Gate 3.
This is what happens when I play too many games. I get things all confused. I'm sorry, guys.
Just because it's not a ritual cast, it's still, you can expend 2 first level spells and boom, both the states have it.
That's fair.
It's not a big deal.
Or just a level 2 spell.
It's a
Or
first
just one
level
level.
cast.
The
Dang.
first level spell. It's not concentration, it lasts an hour. So even if it's not like a ritual, it's still not it's not spending a lot of resources, especially if it's going to then be a lion for the rest of the race and won't be able to cast spells anymore.
Yeah. So I could cast it first. And then if we need to recast it, it's also a bard spell.
It's true. But
Okay, well,
y'all would have
I don't have,
y'all can't
I don't have-
can't change it on long rest. So.
right. I have to change mine on level up. So unless he has
Same.
them,
I don't have it.
okay.
Well,
So it's thicket,
Yeah.
basically.
But it's
so
still lasts,
only me.
it still
We
lasts
get an
an
hour.
Yeah. You can cast it
the
right
there's
before
no
the
race
race
that
starts.
race
And
hour long, right?
the race is about an hour long, yeah. Just under.
Oh, okay. Well, just under. So that's
Oh,
fine.
nice.
So
Hour-long spells will have the effect the entire race, effectively. 10-minute
Okay.
spells will have
Epic.
the race, or will have effect for like 2 sections. Maybe 3.
How many sections are there?
There are 4 sections.
Well,
Yeah.
if you think 10 minutes.
Well, if it's only a 10-minute
no,
spell,
no.
then that doesn't make sense.
Maybe if,
no,
I don't know.
yeah, just make it as a one section. Just make it as one section. That's fair.
Sure, like one section. And there are going to be some things that you could cast a 1-minute spell in the moment, like the rider could, but a 10-minute spell would basically guarantee you a full section. Like casting a 1-minute spell, because one of the things they'd be willing to share, they're keeping some of the things about the course hidden just for entertainment of the audience side, as well as dealing with the problem solving of the riders. But the 2 elements of the race that they are willing to share is there will be a straightaway that is along the beach of the river to the east, and then there is a forested section.
Hey, well, while you're talking, that just gave me a whole other thought. I'll be able to hex. So I'll be able to have a concentration going on. I'll be able to hex while I'm riding T-Rex Gambit, and
So
that
that's
means someone will have disadvantage on like. So I could cause like the critter to have like disadvantage on strength checks, meaning that it might fail athletics, or I could do like dexterity and therefore acrobatics. Could do con because like that, I think that has to do with the endurance. So that was a thing. There's also like disadvantage on perception for the rider, so that he doesn't know where he's going. So we could definitely work on that. So like, and I could definitely cast those like at each section to be like, okay, this person's giving us the most trouble here. Let's hinder them. And with the roaring and everything else, I really think that this is the way to go. Is, you know, effectively, we're trying to lock in first and second place, and I think guaranteeing Thicket getting first, and then guaranteeing us getting second, makes the most sense.
that straightaway sounds like a good place to use feline agility.
It would probably give you a boost on the bonuses. Because straight away, as I mentioned before, for example, some of the different elements during the different sections, individual abilities of the creature come into play. So, for example, the speed of the creature, you get a bonus based on your speed. Base 30 feet, you don't get any particular bonus to the athletics check during the straightaway. If you have a speed of 40 feet, you get an extra d4, 50, get an extra d6, 60, you get an extra d8, 80 or higher, you get a d10. Granted, I don't think you'll have access to the 8 or higher, but getting like an extra
That
d4...
would be feline agility.
Yeah, feline agility might give you the d8 instead of the d6 from the lion. I think
If we're
just the
using
d8.
Longstrider and feline agility, Thicket would have 120 movement speed for
Dude.
one turn.
What?
For one round. And then you'd have 60 for the rest of it for Long Strider, which
Freaking
would bring you
Roadrunner.
up to the D8. So you standard have the D8, you would get the D10 for using Feline Agility for one of the laps.
Okay. So yeah, some other stuff. As I'm looking at my spell list, I'm realizing so I'll be able to do some blindness to really mess up the riders and stuff as well. I can also do silvery barbs for when they succeed on a check save. So there's definitely some stuff happening here, where yeah, I'm more convinced at the plan.
And the plan is, am I understanding correctly, that y'all are planning to have Gambit the steed for the second racer? Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, again, this is not set in stone yet, but so far,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Whenever y'all are sure and want me to write things down, just let me know. So I'll write down
When
on
is the
side, like,
race?
what the fairs are.
Is
You
it
have a
like
week and a half.
today? Okay.
It's the 9th, and the race is on the 20th. During the solstice celebration. And then that evening there is I think I would have seen flyers. There is a show with the giant eel riders at the waterfront.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
How does Landstride benefit Thicket in the race?
Landstride is the ability to
'Cause, like-
ignore non-magical terrain, yeah?
Non-magical difficult terrain, yeah.
It'd give you a bonus in the forest section.
Cool.
Trying to go through, thickets and woods and etc. You would have a bonus on because of Landstride.
Thicket doesn't
Also
accept
pass
thickets.
through non-magical plants without being slowed by them and without taking damage from them if they have thorns, spines, or a similar hazard. In addition, you have advantage on saving throws against plants that are magically created or manipulated to impede movement.
Yeah, so you would have a very good bonus then. In fact, since it specifically says stops you from being slowed by it, you're probably going to get like a D6 or a D8 in that section specifically on your
Nice.
check for it.
So yeah, so the T-Rex has a 50-foot speed. So fast is good there. It doesn't have any special attacks to intimidate. But being that it's a big hungry monster, maybe that would be enough, and I don't know.
One of the things to note, since you do know about the stamina part of it, you get stamina points that increase based on the creature's constitution modifier, and you can expend, I think it was 1 stamina point to gain advantage on a check. Section.
Which, with everything else going on, it may not matter. What?
Sure, but I'm just saying that that's one of the advantages the T-Rex has, is it has a con of 19, so you have an extra, so you have 11 total stamina points to play around with.
What spells are allowed or not allowed? Can we get that list? Or I guess what you could do is you could look at our spell list and just tell us which ones aren't allowed.
Effectively, the general rule is you're not allowed to cast spells that directly harm another rider or their steed. So things like web are fine, things like fireball are not.
What about blindness?
Blindness is allowed.
Okay.
And other racers may have their own things that they do to try to sabotage you mid-race. Pre-race sabotaging is not allowed. You can't go mess with other people's saddles or anything. Everything has to be in the race. Leave it all in the court. They...
It's gonna be so fun to hold some persons.
So
this is just a pod race.
Sure. One thing I am considering is how far they would allow teleportation. They'd probably allow short-range teleportation like Misty Step, but things like Dimension Door would be a no. So it's worth noting, even if John was riding, you would not be able to move your mount. So I guess it's not really a question, because Dimension Door, the creature has to be the same size as you, and the creature you ride has to be a size larger than you. So that wouldn't come into play necessarily. Unless you want to bail on your steed.
So that wouldn't physically work.
Yeah, it wouldn't.
I could get across the finish line with it.
Sure, but both you and the steed have to cross the finish line. That's one of the rules to mention, is that you and your steed both have to cross the finish line. Let's see. Things on John. John can cast Mending. Message cannot cast Vicious Mockery on people. Though I know John isn't necessarily in the race. They do not like outside interference. At least not anything magical. So technically, Bardic Inspiration is not magical. If you yelled Bardic Inspiration to the riders as they pass the starting line for each lap, you could. That's not magic. But things like you on the outside casting... I don't know. Actually, I'm looking at your spells. There's not a ton of stuff that you could cast that wouldn't harm the creature, but would mess with them. Like, you don't have Hold Person, but if you did, John wouldn't be able to use Hold Person on someone in the race while he's not in the race.
Yeah.
It'd be outside interference. Thicket won't be able to cast much anyway once he's in animal form.
Could I just like cast? Oh wait, no, tiny hut's on myself. Never mind. Can we like cast tiny hut in the middle of the thing and trip somebody up?
And as part of the more or less like pit or preparation team, you can cast stuff on the steed before they start, but nothing after that. Thicket, things like Shape Water, I guess, Guidance. Not that you can cast them in animal size. You have a lot of spells. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but just the general, if it does damage, it's not allowed. For Garand, Eldritch Blast is a no, Light is a yes, Lightning Lure is no, Sacred Flame is no, True Strike is sure, but you can't make the attack that goes along with it. Brine is a yes, as long as you don't take advantage of the damage. Cure Wounds is fine if you wanted to. Guiding Bolt is a no, Hold Person, yes. Misty Step, yes, especially because you can't bring the steed along with you.
Right.
Phoenix Guardians is a no. Prestidigitation is a yes. Mockery is no. Charm Person, yes. Healing Word, yes. Identify, yes. Silvery Barbs, yes. Blindness, Deafness, yes. Shatter, no.
Yeah, this is looking more and more exciting. Does anybody have any other thoughts they want? Because I don't want to, I don't want anybody like feel left out or nothing like. But I definitely was going hard on trying to figure out how to super cheese this.
That's what I was thinking. Just how can we cheese this the best?
I have Jackal's Luck.
What's that?
You grant a moment of luck to one willing creature you can see within range. When that creature makes an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw, they can spend this boon and roll one additional d20, then choose which of the d20 results they want to use to determine their result. Alternatively, when that creature is targeted by an attack, they can use this boon to roll an additional d20 and choose to either and use either their roll or the attacker's d20 result for the attack. Once used, the spell ends. It is not a concentration spell.
That would be amazing if you weren't.
It lasts
Basically,
10 minutes.
Oh, it lasts 10 minutes? I thought it said a moment of luck.
It does. It says
it
a
lasts
moment
on you for
as
10 minutes. And
descriptive flair, but the duration is 10 minutes.
during those 10 minutes, you can do a thing. Because you can cast this on someone, and then it gives them the Jackal's Luck for 10 minutes, during
so
which
you
they can
cast
do
at
the
the
most.
beginning of the race.
And it is a level 1 spell.
It is worth
Felix-
50 gold pieces. It costs a 50 gold piece Peridot to use.
And using it at... Oh, shoot. Never mind.
Oh, okay. It costs a gemstone. It costs a peridot. Okay.
Peridot.
I mean, you can still use it. Just worth noting, it has a 50 gold piece
Really,
cost.
peridot? I've always said it peridot.
I think it's Peridot, but I could be wrong.
I say Peridot because I watch Steven Universe.
I say Peridot because I read.
That's fair.
I thought it was French. That's what I thought. I thought it's peridot.
I don't know. Jocelyn, what do you think?
We need to get my sister on the call. She speaks French.
How do you spell it?
Peridot.
Peridot.
Sound it out.
Jocelyn, if you're talking, we can't hear you. Dubsies.
Sorry, I had my mic muted on my computer.
You're okay. Think it's pronounced
Yeah.
Peridot?
I think that is probably regional, and both are correct.
Yeah,
That's happened a lot.
Wikipedia has both pronunciations.
Oh, well, there we go.
So it's probably of French origin, and it's just commonly pronounced Peridot.
It's probably originally Peridot, but as I said, it has become regional. And borrowed words owe nothing to their original language.
Like Ibiza versus Abita.
Yeah. So it doesn't have to be pronounced Peridot, even if that's the original. In English, it can be pronounced both Peridot or Peridot.
It's 9:20. Okay, so finish up what you're doing. So Gambit, how do you feel about being a T-Rex?
I probably want to practice that first before, I don't just want to like suddenly be a T-Rex. I can imagine that that's probably somewhat existential.
I mean, you get to have your own personality, so yeah.
You
But
keep
I
your
think that's fun.
personality, but you do take on the T-Rex's mental facilities.
So
I have
like
a big head and little arms.
Yeah.
Just not so sure how well this plan was thought out.
You have strength of 27, dex of 0, con of 4, intelligence of -4, wisdom of +1,
Oh.
charisma of
Wow.
-1. I don't think you get to keep your skills or anything, or even your proficiencies when you're a animal.
Rip.
But
What,
you'll keep your personality.
What type of like abilities? Like roar?
No, it's combat. It's bite and tail. They don't really have a roar. It would be like you have perception +4. That's the only proficiency that you get. Most beasts only get 1 proficiency. But
Yeah.
But you keep your alignment and personality. But everything else, you follow it. What it has. There's Triceratops, which has trampling charge, which doesn't really help you because you have to gore attack, but that's also a thing.
Yeah. So
wait, could he be a giant ape? That's a 7. That's a CR7.
Sure.
You're not as powerful in some ways, but you're better overall. Your int is a 7 and your charisma is a 7. So you're like
Your
Forrest Gump.
dex is higher, and big one, you would have proficiency in athletics.
Oh yeah, giant ape somehow gets 2. That's nice. Nice. You have perception and athletics. Do you want to be a giant ape instead?
You become slower, but you do become a giant. But you do have athletics. That's one.
There's also a 40-foot climb though. So on the tree section, I think I was looking at the giant ape because of the forest. If you pick that, I have a theme song for it, by the way.
So it's basically, do I want to be Godzilla or King Kong?
No, the theme song was going to be a monkey.
What were the benefits of a dire wolf?
Yeah. Well, the trip, I think you have to deal damage. So that may actually not be overall.
Yep, the trip is part of the bite.
Yeah, so it wouldn't work.
They have perception and stealth as their proficiencies.
We could both be lions.
Yeah, it's the keen hearing and smell.
Between the lions, we'll
That
teach
was
kids
it.
how to read.
This is what it was. It was
the lions.
So you have advantage on
Gotcha.
wisdom perception that rely on hearing or smell. So that means like any kind of like if there was any traps waiting, right? You might hear or smell it before you would see it. So therefore you would have advantage on it. Or if someone was coming up, you would know that someone was coming maybe before someone else. So that was part of the other reason. It was like, I don't know. I didn't know for sure whether or not the trip would work because of the damage, because I wasn't 100% convinced on what he was going to do as far as that goes. But let me go put my daughter to bed while you guys chit chat over it. But I'll let y'all know I'm using RPGbot.net, RPGbot.net, excuse me, to look at if you just type in polymorph 5e options and you look at the RPG bot choice, it'll give you a by CR and you can look at them and then you can just like type in whatever those things are, because there's some interesting stuff in there. Like the Brontosaurus is slow, relatively speaking, but it's so big that maybe nothing could pass you. So I don't know. I'll be right back.
Brontosaurus is a gargantuan creature, but it is only 30 feet speed. It does have proficiency in con saves, though.
Do any of them have a sound attack?
Not that I'm immediately aware of. Maybe.
I love brontosauruses.
Brontosauruses are pretty great. I'm an Ankylosaurus guy myself.
I'm a Stegosaurus.
I was just thinking that.
I'm a Stegosaurus.
That exactly.
I learned that there's a giant crab, like a hulking, huge crab in Storm King's Thunder. There's also a huge giant crab, specifically is the name in... Which game is this? TFTYP. TFTYP, that is... Tales from the Yawning
Diplodocus
Portal.
is pretty cool too.
Hmm?
Diplodocus.
Yes. A Diplodocus. Yeah.
Are there rules against flying creatures?
Yes.
Yes. You can have a flying creature, but they cannot fly for the majority of the race. Using moments of flight to help you jump or such is fine, but you can't just fly over the track.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Ah. Ah.
Probably a T.
Probably Trex. So the current plan is to have Doug on Thicket and Doug on Thicket, and is it who on Gambit?
Garand on Gambit.
You sure you don't want John to be the racer?
John could be if he's okay with concentrating while he's riding. I don't know how difficult that might be.
I don't know what that would entail necessarily, because like if I break concentration, the polymorph fails. Then
Right, and
there's
then,
no recovering from that.
that's
really.
what I'm saying. That's one of my thoughts. We couldn't cast it again because then Thicket would have to shift out and shift back.
Well, I can
Okay,
cast-
I
can
have a
cast it
chaotic
twice.
idea.
I have 2 4th level slots.
Oh, you have polymorph. Okay.
I have polymorph and 2 4th level slots, so I could totally cast it in the middle of the race, but only got one chance at that.
It's,
Okay.
it's
I have
still
a
a very
chaotic
dangerous...
idea.
What's your
Nope.
chaotic idea?
I have a level 3 spell called Aether Thread, which says you pull threads of aether from the air and effortlessly fling them up to 6 creatures you can see within range. Each creature makes a strength saving throw or its speed drops to 0. The creature can repeat the saving throw as an action, ending the effect on a success. If one creature bound by the threads takes damage, each other creature bound takes 1 damage of the same type. Bound creatures don't take this damage more than once on the same turn. If you move out of the spell's range of an affected creature, the spell ends for it as its threads snap.
Okay. So what would be your plans? Because you'd have to shift out to cast it.
Yeah. She didn't have a plan. She left.
You died. Oh no.
That was the plan all along.
The plan was to give you an interesting idea and then bail. But not bail, B-A-I-L, your half vampire friend. But bail as in...
Fail!
Christian Bale.
No, not Christian Bale.
Batman?
Hey, Bale.
He is Batman, it's true.
And
He is a Batman. And it got being a half vampire at Dampier, so yes.
Nice.
Dude. And yes, if y'all have any questions, since it's assumed y'all are talking near the registration area, you can ask questions. I can tell you what they would be willing to tell you.
Sorry. My
fine.
Discord cut out. What did you guys last hear?
We heard your
You had a
entire
plan.
idea without why. So how would this come out? Because you'd have to shift in order to cast.
Would either thread help?
I was thinking like it could be something that we might could cast like before the race starts.
Wait, doesn't Thicket have some kind of stone that retains 2 spells that maybe he could give Doug or somebody?
No.
Thicket has a pearl of power that can cause him to regain a 3rd level spell slot, but he does not have an item
Ring
of
of
spell
Spell
storing. Ring of spell storing would be an interesting idea, though, if you can get one in time.
So, question on some of Doug's things.
Okay.
If Doug was to put like braces on both the 2 I guess mounts, could he use his magnetism for like an advantage roll on like a save or something? More of like pushing their foot just a little bit or something of that nature?
What's your proficiency bonus?
I'm pulling up Fantasy Grounds now. I think it's like 2 or 3.
It is currently 3, so you can do up to 15 pounds of pressure for magnetism.
Right. I mean, but it would just be a slight nudge, more of like, a slight movement.
It wouldn't be enough to really matter, especially not with something the size of a T-Rex or a lion.
Or what if it was more of like a cautionary thing of like, like Thicket was too busy doing something else and didn't perceive something, so it was Doug's way of just slightly like saying, "Hey, move over."
I mean, sure, but you can also just say that into Thicket's ear.
That's true.
Yeah, if you're riding Thicket.
Uh,
I don't mean to shoot down the idea, I'm just saying there is also
yeah.
the option of speaking.
Yeah. Thicket
What about-
understands language.
I think
What
Gambit
about-
would understand language as well. I think from polymorph.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
What about using the echo as far as just using it in general?
As long as you don't use it to damage someone. Keep in mind,
So, like-
if at the end of a turn it's more than 30 feet away from you, so if you're gonna have it do something more than 30 feet away from you, that's gonna last more than 6 seconds, it's gonna fail. Because it would
Right.
disappear.
Right. So, like, for example, let's say the echo is just hovering along with Thicket and myself, and if something were to happen, like something would be thrown in Doug's way or something like that, teleporting back and forth between, kind of is like dodging.
Keep
Or-
in mind, you would not be able to teleport Thicket with you.
Well, yes, I would know that, but it was just more of like if Doug was targeted.
You can do that.
And if, let's say I was to have my chain, which has like the grappling effect, could the echo grapple as long as it's within 30 feet?
Potentially.
So it could just be like a hovering bear hug, I guess.
For 6 seconds, sure. Because at that point you would be moving farther than 60 feet away from it and it would dissipate.
Right.
You'd effectively be able to do that once for one round, and if I guess technically since it makes a fake version of the chain, it could try and use your chain to just grapple onto people. You wouldn't lose the chain when doing it. So, but yeah, you could theoretically try to grapple someone and slow them down for a couple of seconds.
Well, I guess technically, since it's like not harming, I guess it would just make more sense for it just a bear hug.
Yeah. Either way.
Would it be a better idea for Thicket to use Accelerate instead of Enhance Ability? For like the first round or whatever, or first few rounds. Considering it's only concentration up to a minute, but the duration of the spell, each target's speed is doubled, and they can use a bonus action to take the dash action.
I mean, that'd be awesome. Like if we could also pull that off, but I honestly think because the other could be so much more impactful and long lasting, I really think that us having so it's a second level spell normally. So if you cast it as a fourth level spell, you'd be able to get you, Doug, and me with advantage on like perception, or or if you wanted to go the strength route, you could do athletics or you could do endurance. There's so many options with that, and it's like once we know a little bit more, like we could, I think Gambit has the right idea that we try to practice this. So I think we should ask if there's a training course, like to make sure that we know what we're doing and at least have a base idea, so that we aren't going in there completely blind. I think that's the right way to go, and then we can kind of fine tune what we think would be most useful.
Because like with accelerate, if it's each target speed is double and the dash action is like your speed, that would be like 6 turns of 240 movement speed.
I mean, we could maybe pull that
How
off.
long is this race?
He says it's an hour though. Like he said,
Can we cheese it? Just stack movement speed until we win?
It's like
round?
6 miles. That would
Dang it.
accelerate would only apply to probably giving you advantage or a big bonus on the first section, and then it would stop because it simply doesn't last long enough to affect you beyond that. But it could be a good way to give you a fast lead, and then you just have to keep it.
Yeah, it could be a good lead.
I don't know. Okay, so Long Strider adds our speed anyway. So we both it adds your speed, or
Assuming
is
you do Long Strider, it's an extra 10 feet, so both of you would move up to the 60 feet segment.
Okay. But the thing is that would last for the entirety of the race.
Correct.
And
you
then
can do Long Strider with other things because it's not concentration and it lasts an hour.
Right. So yeah, I genuinely think like that initial lead could be something, but someone could just make that up like in the fourth thing, and then we were also down our ability increases or our advantage on checks. I would say it's a fantastic idea if you could cast and we could utilize your spell pool, but because we can't, I think we need to go with more long-lasting buffs. But I mean, ultimately, you have to decide what you do with your character. But I think that it reminds me of a story where someone once traded a bowl of soup for their inheritance.
I feel I don't really see the connection, but sure.
So the idea is that the inheritance is long-lasting, right? And he's so hungry that he wants to bleed right now.
I see.
Yeah. Obviously not to the same degree.
It's up to y'all to decide whether y'all think it's worth it. And
Other option would be using, what is it? Conjure animals, which also, well, it's another concentration spell. But I can summon.
Welcome back.
It lasts an hour, and I could summon one beast for as of a challenge rating of 2 or lower, or 2 beasts of a challenge rating of 1 or lower for half challenge rating, or lower, or 8 beasts, challenge rating 1/4 or lower. And they don't attack unless they're attacked first. So that could be something that we could use as like if you wanted to go the scare tactic route, so that we could use a faster animal for Gambit.
What do you mean?
Well, you're going at 50, right?
Yeah.
And if
And
in
we
order-
had with the summon, what is it? What is it called? Conjure animals. With the conjure animals, we could conjure something of a higher challenge rating than either of us could wild shape or polymorph into. That would be scarier.
what? Okay, what does the Axbeak have any natural predators?
I don't know. Let me look. Not brushed up on my axe beak lore.
I mean, you can decide if he has one in your world or not.
True, but knowing them, they might just have one. Not specifically, they are carnivorous, so they are actually hunters as well as anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's not as common for predators to hunt other predators, but it would not be impossible to see lions and axebeaks duking it out.
Or being terrified of a giant T-Rex, maybe?
Maybe, yeah. That's the thing that, all creatures tend to be scared of things that are larger than them.
Okay,
Apparently,
so
axebeaks also tend to have a nasty disposition and attack things they're unfamiliar with.
nice. All right. Well, yeah. Gron's just gonna turn over to the coordinator or dude or whatever. Do you have like a practice ring, a training route, somewhere we could learn to make sure that we know at least have a vague idea of what we're doing? We want to have fun with it,
Well, we don't necessarily have a full practice route per se that's going to match up how things are going to be in come racing day, but there is a practicing effectively course. We have two kinds. One is more of an obstacle course. It simply goes up and down hills. There's some areas that tend to get a bit muddy or can be difficult to run upon. We also have one that is simply a flat race course. That's effectively this large oval. 2 straightaways and 2 turns. Rather 4 turns, but 2 U-turns and straightaways. And of course, you can always try running along the hills or through the woods nearby if you want a realistic experience, perhaps. But we
Is
don't
that
have
how you get to Grandma's house?
As long as you go over the river, through the woods, and watch out for wolves.
Nice.
Appreciate it. But yes, we have a couple of smaller courses. One's a little more, terrain heavy. The other is simply for a sprint or distance running. Be mindful of other preparers that may be there at the time.
And what are the hours of these training courses? Are they daytime only? Are they weekday only?
Open
Is
to
there?
the public. They exist year-round for people to prepare themselves for occasional track races with different groups. But they're not. There's no particular sign-up sheet or anything. It's just be mindful of other people that are there. They're typically wide enough to have several steeds running at once, as long as they don't interfere with one another.
All right.
They don't have any particular sign-up. No one necessarily. Well, technically, the city owns it. They were installed. They were run upon well a few years back, so they're pretty clear. You can find them, and people have even set up a couple of benches here and there of their own volition.
All right. Then, is there any other rules that we need to be aware of before we attempt to practice? Anything we've missed?
Nothing that I'm immediately aware of. I think we've covered the majority of it.
All right. Well, you've
The
been
price
most
entry
helpful.
fees. You are aware that there is betting, but that can begin as early as the day before the race. If you'd like to go ahead and place your bet then. Different betting odds are based upon previous years and what the expectations are for given racers. We technically have a list of the racers' names, but looking for individual information about them is up to you. Any recon you'd like to do. So far, we have 15 contestants that have, signed up. But yes, I don't know if, off the top of my head, any other rules. If something changes, we'll be sure to have a messenger get to you and let you know. Where are you staying? And this, of course, assuming you are going to sign up for the race.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. We just want to practice, make sure we don't go in too far over our heads.
Of course.
We're not necessarily expecting to win, of course. It's more like, hey, that's what we want to try to do. But
of course, we certainly have racers that are here largely for fun. Some of the for example, we have a fan favorite, sort of. There's a man with a giant boar that he has raced for years that likes to race. He's not the fastest, and I don't think he's ever even gotten close to winning, but he's something that he has a little bit of a fan club, and he does it, and people enjoy.
Oh, that's pretty delightful.
So don't worry, there's certainly fun to be had. Who knows, stick around long
What
enough
about
to make it your own fan club.
What about a woman with a giant boar?
No, but there's, let's see. There is a woman with a giant goat. There's a man, there's a halfling with a yak. It's a human with a zebra. He says, looking down at his sign-up sheet, just looking at the different people that are registered. So we have a few dinosaurs. Should be lots of fun. We even have a hippogriff.
Right, and there's limitations on the flight
Yes.
flight issue, right? Yeah.
Yes. Hoot and Leary have done it a few times. They're well aware of the rules.
Who's Hoot and Larry?
Hoot is the hippogriff. Leary is his rider.
Gotcha.
Used to be Hoot and Nanny, right?
I feel like there's a reference that should be here, but I'm not getting it. Sorry.
No worries. It's an older quip, but it does check out.
Would you like a list of the riders and steeds?
Certainly, I mean, it's obviously free information, so and they'll know about us if we join. So why not?
They'll know the names. We don't give out anything beyond that, and the established betting odds. Since I guess let's see, who would have the established betting odds already? So those ones would not. Yes, here's the list. I'll hand it over to you. I've sent it in session highlights. There is Cathra and Shelley, Walker and Alexander, Gadul and Boulder, Kothra and Zip, Ephrail and Fluffy, Arden and Mars, Leary and Hoot, Frankie and Scales, Georgia and Malon, Ty and Flash, Dorn and Flint, Myerma and Osiris, Thornton and Nash, Mally and Dune, and Ereval and Quill. The second name is the steed in every example. And they also have a slight guide to how the betting functions here. For those who don't know, it's when the odds are a number and then by another number. So, for example, with Catherine and Shelley, it's 1 to 3, meaning that is fairly good odds that we believe that she will win. And so, should you bet on them, you would receive, in addition to the return on your bet, 1/3 of the betted amount. So if you bet 1 gold piece, you would receive 1 gold piece and 3 silver and 3 copper.
So these are 1 to 3 against, basically.
Yes, and I do realize that I've actually messed up the numbers for Leary and Hoot. Let me fix those. It's these ones down here that are, for example, Leary and Hoot, Frankie and Scales, Georgia and Malon. 2 to 1 for Leary and Hoot means that if you bet, you will get your bet plus 2 times the bet back. Efril and Fluffy is effectively a 1 and 1, so for every dollar you bet, you win 1 additional dollar. So if you bet $1, you win, you get 2. Total, including the return on the bet itself being passed back to you.
And Kothar and Zip was the one that like we were told to look out for, right?
By whom?
Someone that was expected to win or whatever all the time.
Person that was the secretary did mention one of them. Does anyone remember who they mentioned? That they were betting on?
A list of names? They mentioned who they were betting on?
no.
No.
Wasn't it? Was Walker and Alexander, wasn't it?
It was. He said his money was on Walker.
Yeah, but that's a 3 to 1 bet, or 1 to 3. So that means not as good.
Yeah, that means he's expected to do well.
Yeah, so...
and they do give 50% of your bet, or 50% of the would-be result if they get second, and a 25% of the result if they get third.
So yeah, so like 1 to 3 means, if you bet like 10, you would get effectively 13 back.
Yes.
But 3 to 1 means if you bet 10, you would get 30 back.
You would actually get 40 back. Because there's the immediate return plus whatever the opposite number is. So for the 3 to 1, you get the return, which would just be the 10, plus 3 times 10. So 40.
Yeah.
Okay.
The parentheses is the additional amount in return in addition to your regular bet.
So everybody is either 1 to 1 or worse. Because you have.
What's the point of betting on the 1 to 1s?
It doubles. So if you bet $1 on the 1 to 1 and they get first place, you get $2 instead of just your $1 back.
Since they're more than likely expected to win, you should theoretically win more money. Like you should be. It's like be easy money, quote unquote.
Yeah, if they're more likely to win, you win less money by betting on them because it's a more secure bet. So if you bet on someone who's less likely to win, which you would mention that the standard for new people, like Myermo, Cyrus, or the further down the line, which let me check. The further down, which I'll just go ahead and fix those to have the full amounts, is a standard of 1 to 5 as the maximum. So, for example, y'all, assuming y'all bet on yourselves, standard is 1 to 5. But for druids in particular, because they are a transformed creature, would be 1 to 4. Or 1 to 5, I don't know. 1 to 4 sounds reasonable, but... less likely they are to win, the more money you get if they do.
All right. Well, yeah. If we're ready, then I think we should go practice.
And y'all aren't quite registering yet. Y'all wanted to wait until presumably the Sunday or after you practice to do so.
Should we go ahead and register Thicket?
Yeah. I mean, I guess you might as well.
What's the registration fee?
25.
Oh.
And who is riding Thicket? You a druid, yes?
Isn't it Doug?
Doug just raises his hand.
And your name is?
Doug.
Doug and Thicket. Could you go ahead and transform for me, Thicket? We like to verify the transformation quality. Can't have people just signing up to ride on top of their friend's shoulders, can we?
Thicket turns into a lion.
Hilarious. Let's do that.
I admit it is hilarious. We did have people try that one year. One of them got a broken leg by the end of it. I wouldn't recommend it. As Thicket transforms, presumably letting out a roar. Very good. All right, and the initial and the registration payment.
So we can each do 5 gold, or however you guys want to do it.
Fine by me.
That's fine.
All right, everyone mark off 5 gold as you pull together and hand in the cash as he writes everything down. Very good, very good. And we've already verified the rules with you. And where can we find you should we need to?
Dapper.
In the winner's circle.
Ah,
Dapper B. Very good.
that's a little presumptuous, isn't it, Doug?
Micah, make it my turn. I want to turn into a lion.
He did.
Okay, thank you.
27. No, that's incorrect. Ha ha ha. Give myself more money.
Gambit, I mean, you are a rogue. I guess
3.
Gambit may be all...
Gambit's just stealing from them while they're taking our money.
Roar.
It's like one of those movies. It's like, all right, now I'll give you 5, and now here's my 5, and then here's this, and I gotta change it. Wait, here's 10. Here, like.
Oh, short change?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I've had
there you
people
go.
try to do that to me.
Uh,
You just say, no, sir, I already typed it in. This is how it has to be. And then they go away sad.
He does not try to shortchange you. I guess you won't need use of the stables, but we do have these stables access for any of the riders' preparation, or rather for any of the steeds. But as he nods over to Thicket, I don't believe that will be necessary. There will be a short period right before the beginning that, since you are having the transformation, we will signal to you to go ahead and transform right before the race begins. If you'd like to transform before then, you can, but we will give a signal before we begin. Oh, and of course, no sabotage in saddles or anything, as I believe we've already clarified. Meant to be a good faith race.
It was meant to be a good
With the
faith
odds
race.
ever in
You
your
wouldn't allow
favor.
any magic.
We've considered ruling out any magic before, but we've found it doesn't necessarily help.
Doesn't deter the use of it.
It doesn't. Yes, people will attempt to be
I
as
can
stealthy
imagine.
as they can. So we've limited it, and we do have those who spectate to verify. And well, I guess technically, there is levels of magic people request not to use, but it's not technically a hard and fast rule. I don't know if any of you are able to cast the very high level magic, but I don't know that it's relevant.
Forward kill.
Yes, like that. Not to mention that would also break the no harm rule.
I mean, couldn't you just put like a what is it called? A dome of silence
Anti-magic?
or something?
Theoretically, yes, but having that cover an entire 2-mile loop is not as
6
simple.
mile. 6 mile loop, you said.
No, it's a 2-mile loop that has 3 laps.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
3 times over each section. Which will also allow you to go by the crowd. You're welcome to try and get crowd favoritism. Some people like it, some people go to all the effort. Others don't care as much. Ones like Catherine and Shelley are not quite as personable, but others, such as Arden, are quite beloved.
Whoa.
Yes, that was the sound of the cows over off to the side.
That's a lion's roar.
Wow, that's not very impressive, is it?
It's like Simba.
There's a reason they use tigers in the movie,
Yeah.
isn't there?
Yeah.
But
That's funny.
yes, you're welcome to have at it and train all you like. Wish you the best of luck.
All right. Well, thank you kindly. we go, and then we'll try one polymorph, and then we can try the other polymorph and see if Gambit has a preference.
Okie doke. For the first time we throw the thing on here. I'm gonna pull up the NPCs. So John, I'm gonna first throw, let's see.
Wait, John is not an NPC.
No,
Oh.
I'm pulling up the polymorph stuff, so let's see.
Boy.
Her, let's just go Rex. Sounds depressed.
What is that?
Is that a tauntaun? Is that a tauntaun? I thought they smelled bad on the outside.
It's a lion's
It
roach.
sounds
I
so
swear.
depressed.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Sad lion.
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
So does Thicket sound like a lion, or does Thicket retain its or his own voice?
Thicket is currently a lion right now, so he sounds
Well-
like a lion.
Yeah. But it's still Thicket, like he still has his mentals. So like
Yeah.
you can talk to him and like he can nod or whatever.
John. So, John, on your sheet, you can see on your actions tab, on the polymorph, you have a list of the ape beast, and you can click on that to go to the T-Rex as well. And you should be able to, using the combat tracker, target, I think, by control clicking on Gambit's image on the combat tracker. You can target Gambit, and then let's see.
I
Is
see.
there an
Yes.
activate button? I don't know. There should be
Yeah.
an activate button.
Yep, I see the activate button.
I think you can press the activate. I don't know why I can't see it on my side. Odd. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
But now has yours
I'm a
changed to
T-Rex.
Yep. That would change his thing to T-Rex. We can even throw down the tracker on this side. Big. And then if Gambit clicks activate on the thing, or was that you that clicked it, or was that Gambit that clicked the button?
Huh? I unactivated
You
it.
unactivated it? Nice. Yeah, you can activate, unactivate. That'll even check and see if you're able to, if you try to polymorph someone into something that they can't turn into, or if you try to add non-beast to it, it'll give a message in chat that tells you you're not able to. So if you want to turn Gambit into a T-Rex or ape, just to let Gambit see how it looks. See which one Gambit might prefer. As for the practice riding, I mean, if y'all want to just roll checks and stuff, you can. It's entirely up to you.
we need to know exactly how we're not going to know everything that's on the course, but we need to understand how the mechanics are going to work according to how you want them to work. So,
Fair.
like, Gambit needs to know, because for example, the gorilla or the ape, whatever, giant ape has a 7 intelligence, and so would be able to understand language, so whereas the T-Rex would not, but the T-Rex has the higher strength and con, and technically even the higher charisma. So to know how those work, and then what checks are needed from each of us, what sort of things to expect. So effectively, I think we would test both polymorphs on both types of terrains, and then Gambit would be like, I felt like this is this was easier.
So, assuming, what kind of terrains are y'all prepping for?
Well, you said there's 2 tracks. There's the straightaway
There are
track.
2 tracks, and there's also whatever else y'all choose to do if you want to run through a forest or whatever else. But the...
What is the whatever else?
I don't know, hills, forest, if you want to run through the stream, if you want to... whatever else you can think of. Other kinds of places you could practice in. Dragon Ball Z.
I think just the 2 practice things for now, and then when Gambit finds the one that he prefers, then we focus on training with that, maybe outside the city, maybe, you know, in different kinds of terrains.
Fair enough. So,
Does that sound good,
alrighty.
Game?
Sure.
So, without Longstrider, you have a base 50 speed. So, for the straightaway, it is going to be an athletics check, which, since you don't have proficiency, is just going to be the C on your strength. And
What am I? A
you
Tyrannosaurus
are
Rex?
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
I tried to see the thing bigger and it made it go away.
What do you mean?
My T-Rex stat block, it is gone. How do I get the T-Rex stat block back? Ah, there it is. So
So on this sheet, you can see where your armor is, your hit points, as well as all of your abilities. The one you're going to use first would be your your strength. So the C is for a strength check, but since you have a 50-foot speed, you will initially have a D6. So if you want to roll a D6, and then add that number to the modifier window to the bottom left.
oh,
So yeah, you just rolled 2 strength checks. Hey, you got an nat 20 on one. But
too bad it doesn't. Wait, do I get a hero point?
no.
Nice. Dex.
That's it. You do a dex check. Con is the same way.
I thought I would feel stupider.
Well, that's a 0 intelligence roll, so you do feel pretty stupid.
Well, Gambit is thinking, I thought I'd feel stupider, but he is stupider. He just doesn't know what smart is.
Well, I think he thinks like, I thought I'd feel stupider as he goes, and he's just like sniffing a tree.
What would be required from me in terms of guiding Gambit or whatever?
Since Gambit has the mental facilities of a T-Rex, you would, let's see, you could do athletics checks to try and spur him on. During some instances, such as the forest section, assuming y'all eventually go there and y'all be able to go and run around in the forest. Forest is survival checks. Yeah, survival checks try and get through the forest, which would be more so on the rider than it is on the steed. Except the instance of Thicket, where Thicket can choose to do the survival checks if they want to. But in that case, it'd be Garand leading Gambit through the forest.
Okay.
Other obstacles... Most obstacles that require mental facilities, such as perception, investigation type of things, would be the steed, or the rider controlling the steed. And then others that might require athletics, such as the straightaway, or acrobatics, if that comes up, or similar things, would be more so of the steed. You can make an athletics check to try and help this steed, like spur them along. Trying to think of what additional benefit would make sense to do that. No, that'd be animal handling.
But I don't have athletics as a...
So anytime you don't have a skill, whatever the base stat is what you use. So athletics is always strength, so you would click a strength check.
I see.
The rider can carry things along to try and help. I think... let's see, what's the best way to do animal handling especially for... Riding a steed would probably be like animal handling to help control them, so you can maybe animal handling to give a bonus to stuff. So if it requires... If something is required that requires mental stuff by the steed, or something like an acrobatics check, you can make an animal handling check to add an extra d4, depending on how well the roll is, and if you crit, you give them an advantage.
Where's my move speed?
That is right underneath your hit dice, right above your normal stats.
Oh, I see.
50 feet. You have your perception +4, and then every section you'll have to make a con save or check, which for you is the same. And if you roll a 10 to 15, you don't lose any stamina points, which we're going to end up doing as temp HP. Yours is going to be 11 for if you are a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Y'all can spend a stamina point to get advantage on a check through an area, but you have potential to lose stamina points whenever you finish an area. So after the straightaway, you would make a con check or a con save. If you want to click the C or the S for me.
Whoopsie, I'm sorry,
It's
I
okay.
don't. I'm
We'll
used
take the
to
first one.
double clicking it.
That's okay. So the first one with the 20, that would be enough to actually give you an extra stamina point, bring you up to 12.
Ooh.
I mean, you could have more that you could play around with and use to gain advantage on stuff. And then, of course, as the Rider Garon, because you can give inspiration stuff, you in particular can inspire Gambit things.
Okay.
Inspire them, cast spells on them, etc.
All right. So far, it sounds like Thicket, the best thing that might be Owl's Wisdom for you, for me, and for Doug, because of things like survival, things like perception, things like animal handling. So far, you could also argue the idea of athletics for both you and Gambit. All right. So what would I do to try to get Gambit to like do like a roar or like a scaring type thing? Like, would I use any of my skills to try to like taunt the person, or is it like purely the T-Rex? Does like,
if you're
it's not me at all,
utilizing the T-Rex's quality of intimidation, then it would be a, let's see, that kind of intimidation size, I would say would be a, as odd as it may sound, a strength-based intimidation check, which would just be a strength check.
That makes a lot of
since you don't have
sense.
proficiency. Because like normal
Yeah.
charisma doesn't make as much sense,
Right.
but you're a scary creature who, even though you have a
Right.
-1 charisma, that kind of
Yeah.
roar and presence would be a strength check.
Okay.
Okay.
That makes sense.
You can also, during it, try whatever kind of thing you want. Like if you decide that you want to try and use your tail to sweep somebody over and try and knock them prone, that would technically be a shove attack, which doesn't deal damage, but you would make presumably either an athletics check or maybe a tail attack to hit, and then they would have to, assuming they'd probably have to either way make a acrobatics or athletics check to stay standing. Otherwise, you'd be able to knock them over with your tail if you're nearby.
Wait, is it a requirement that the beast also be a person like polymorphed or something?
No.
So like the man with his boar, the boar is just a boar.
Boar is probably just a giant boar. The guy
Okay.
did give the implication that there are no other transformed creatures in this race. That everything else is what it is.
At least so far.
At least so far. There may be other people registering, but the 15 that have registered so far are all creatures.
Cool.
Creatures.
Yeah, anytime you think you come up with something neat to do, if you want to have Garon try and like jump off of Gambit's head onto another rider and mess them up and then jump back on, that would require, I don't know, acrobatics checks from Garon to try and add an effect, because that's something you're going to have the option to do, is if you want to do anything to the people nearby. Whether it's a spell, not a spell, something cool. Those are going to be just skill checks that you can use to give yourself bonuses, or perhaps slow someone else down.
Okay. So they wouldn't have like actual effects. So like if I cast a whole person, it's not actually going to make that person like fall off their mount because they're now paralyzed.
It might.
Okay.
You try riding a horse when you can't move.
Well, that's the whole point. Like,
yeah, it's very possible that if they fail to save, they're just going to be off their steed for a minute, and then presumably have to get back on, and then probably be a person or two behind where they were. Because it only lasts for, how long does it last?
Up to a minute, but still, being paralyzed. If you fall off your mount, you've got to get back up on that mount. You got to restart everything. Like you're still looking like
it's
like
a
I don't know,
big mess up on someone.
Yeah, or the same thing with like blindness or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like hex, like causing them to have the their
disadvantage on the athletics check or the con check.
Yeah.
Are two major things you could do.
Right. So yeah, okay. What about something where it's like maybe I was using a performance or deception or maybe my own intimidation where I'm like no, Rexy, no, don't hurt that critter.
Sure.
And I'm trying to like make it be like, and then all of a sudden, that's like the signal for Gambit to go, "Rah!" Like he's really gonna eat it.
Yeah, that would be like a
Convincing.
combined check. That would be.
Okay.
I'd probably make both of you make the checks
Okay,
for convincing.
that's awesome.
And then because that's the kind of thing is like intimidation. What are people supposed to do? I figure usually wisdom save or insight are the two most common responses. So they would have to make a returning check to see if they believe you or if they're calling your bluff.
Right.
Some people might have better bonus against that. Some people might not care. But yeah, that's something you could do as Garand. One other thing that I'm going to tell you outright that you would be able to kind of get an idea from when the person talked about like playing the audience, and as I sent in a message, every time you go by the starting/finishing line, you can try and like encourage the audience to cheer for you and play off them with a performance check that can be from the rider or the steed. And depending on the quality of the check, you would gain a level of basically bardic inspiration you can use for that lap. So like a 12 or lower, you wouldn't get any bonus. 12 to 15 or 12 to 16, you get a D4 bardic inspiration. 16 to 20, you'd get a D6. Higher than 20, you'd get a D8 bardic inspiration. You can use at any point during that lap.
Okay. So I guess what's going to happen on the track then, since there's supposed to be different things, is like each time we rotate the track or like clear lap, it's changing. Like the track is changing or something. The
track is the same every lap, but things may change during that time. You never know what additional effects might be added for excitement, or even not the referees, but like some other creature wandering onto the path or something. Who knows?
Okay.
But surprises will likely occur, and they did imply that that day of they will tell y'all what the track has in store, like right before the race, just so you're not unbelievably surprised and you know where to go at least.
Okay.
But ahead of time, especially like a week and a half before, you just know the straightaway in the forest.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Gambit, do you want to look at the giant ape and the T-Rex and see which one you like more? I personally am a fan of the T-Rex, but I understand wanting to be the giant ape so that you can understand me better.
Well, instead of changing what creature you are, I'm just going to drag the giant ape stat block into your vision, Gambit. That should have pulled it up for you. Did it work?
Yeah, well, Gambit's muted.
Gambit,
hold on, sorry.
Okay.
I had to step away from. What were things that were said to me?
Effectively, it's your choice. Goodness. Effectively, it's your choice whether you want to be a T-Rex or a giant ape. Garon / Chris prefers the T-Rex. I did share you the giant ape, so you should be able to see that now. It does have proficiency in athletics, so you would click, I think you double click on the athletics +9 to roll it. So it does actually have a slightly higher athletics bonus than the T-Rex, but it gets a lower additional bonus. You would only get the, let's see here, 40 feet, so you would get the D4, or with long stride, or a D6 to add to the athletics check for the straightaway. And then because you're a forest-type creature that does have a climbing speed, you make it a bonus on the forest or other places.
Whoa, a lot of nat 20s when it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, you don't know. Maybe they're just hot. Maybe they're gonna be like, they can't wait to like get their time to shine in the sun. Like maybe
Yeah.
you're gonna levels in druid.
I'm with Grant. I think T-Rex.
Okie doke, so you're planning ahead to do T-Rex. For the record, you don't currently have a saddle for. You don't necessarily have to, but a saddle will give effectively Garon proficiency on any checks to maintain staying on.
I mean, I was going to look to see if like we could, if there's someone that would have a saddle for a huge mount.
Yeah, probably. Let me see if there's a thing in the D&D items. Saddle. All saddle. One's for saddle bags. Let's see. Tack. Harness, maybe. Let's see. D&D, tack, and harness. Tack, harness, drawn vehicles. A bit and bridle. Saddle. There we go. Saddle. A riding saddle. Normal cost is 10 gold, so for a high cost for such a large creature, would probably be maybe 15. I guess to get a customized one. I'm kind of surprised the saddle is that expensive, to be honest. Then again, I don't know how expensive is a real saddle. Saddle. Shopping. 200 and some odd, 300, 5,000 for a nice one. We'll say for a good riding saddle, like, yeah, I think 5 gold makes more sense. So we'll say 8 gold for a saddle for a T-Rex. But who knows, maybe I'll want to start carrying around with you in the hole. In case you want to ride a T-Rex later on.
Every once in a while, Gambit will just like feel like this inordinate amount of hunger, and well,
we'll just go hunting.
Like, I need to eat like a lot right now.
Oh, I need to go. And it doesn't. And since we're kind of having since it's a more chill session, if people want to step away for a second, use the restroom, they can. If y'all want, we can take a quick break here before figuring out what y'all want to do next. If y'all have any other questions, but if people want to go use the restroom, get water or anything, that'd be a good time.
I was about to ask if we were going to take a break.
Would y'all like to take a quick break?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's take a quick break.
Sure.
Quick official break. I know it's a lot of information. I plan on having most of this typed out and sent in probably character creation, maybe.
And it's still a lot of in-game time away, so it's not like the hugest deal.
Plus, in the moment, kind of goal is different things will call for specific checks, but also you have the option to try and come up with whatever, and then use those use checks to make them happen. And I'm going to make a nice little tiny map that's just going to be probably poorly drawn, maybe even in like Krita or MS Paint or something. Or in just a simple map designer. That's just going to be like a square where each section is labeled to be what section it is, even if it wouldn't actually look necessarily like that. And then probably move Lion and T-Rex along the track to wherever they would be at the time. Which we'll probably just do each section by each section, because even if someone's ahead, it's simpler to do all the sections at once. And then off to the side, in like a vertical line, would be all of the competitors. And as you move up the ranks, we'd shift things around.
All right.
And now John also knows how to polymorph things.
Woohoo! Oh man, I am psyched for however this plays out.
I hope it plays out well. I hope it's going to be a good time.
Honestly, if it turns out that, like, let's say me and T-Rex Gambit are like 1 to 5 or whatever, then honestly it makes more sense for us to get first place. Like at the end, like basically like we help Thicket to hold it, and then right at the end then we switch, so that we
Maximize
get
profit.
a little bit of extra bid money.
And some of them are officially sponsored. There, did I, what did I set for that? It should be, I don't think I did. I think I forgot to do that, so maybe none of them are. There are no, while the Orange Sun is sponsoring a person, there is no Orange Sun member racing. The person the Orange Sun would be sponsoring is Kothar. Kothar and Zip. Walker is being sponsored by the Darvishi Couriers.
Oh no.
And it would probably be maybe Arden. Yeah, probably Arden would be the sponsor of the Dapper Bee.
All right, well that just gave me a whole other idea.
Just because people
now that
have
I know that
specific people that they like and sponsor, and basically it's helping pay for care for the animal, or even in some cases, some of the better off competitors that have sponsors and things may have hired students from the college to cast things like Long Stride on their steeds at the start of the race.
it's pretty awesome.
Though,
There's
yeah,
definitely
because it is
things
Wizards
to look
Call.
into. There's definitely some things to look into. Yeah, we might have to hire out for some enhanceability overlaps.
That you could do it.
What I now want to do is I want to now get a sending spell to our homegirl, the cat lady with the arm or whatever, and be like, hey, we're gonna be in this race, and the odds are gonna be in our favor on bets. So if you want your guy to throw and get third, and help us win that, then that means that you can get more money on the overall bet. She might be like, ooh, extra money. I won't get the first place, but I'll still get the third place, and then it'll turn out that the messengers got first and second, and now we've already been working together. That's also good.
And I did just look up the standard spellcasting services, as according to the player's handbook, is 10 gold pieces for a first level spell, 40 for a second, 90 for a third, and 160 gold for a fourth level spell. So enhanceability is fourth level, be 160 or 250 for them to upcast it on.
Well, no, enhanceability is normally a second level spell. But
I'm just wrong then. In that case, it'd be like, what was that, 60?
Yeah, but we need two. We need wisdom, on. I still think that just
get a couple of students that are third level spellcasters. Be like, okay, I'm paying you each of you 40 gold pieces. Cast like enhanceability, Constitution on each of our steeds for stamina.
Well, it'd be okay. So 90 is better than 60 multiple times. So like
yes, but I did just double check, and second level spells are 40 gold pieces.
Oh, so the third level is 90. So then yeah, it makes more sense to do 40. So then we do the mounts would both need con. The mounts would both need strength, and then Thicket could do a fourth level to give me, Thicket, and Doug all wisdom, and that would be sufficient. So,
and then I'd have to come up with instead using stamina to add a d4 to the roll, since you'd effectively neuter the advantage side of using a point. If you still wanted to, or you could just save up and finish the race with 6 stamina if you roll well.
Yeah. It's
I
it'll
would
be
say,
interesting.
it
I'll
could even be.
come down.
Sorry.
It's gonna be like in the moment, but
It's gonna be in the moment, which should be fun. This, especially with y'all training and stuff, would probably get us up to like 2 p.m. after.
yeah. And then at that point, it's like go around and see whatever little other monies could be made.
And you got other stuff you want to do. Y'all want to see about a teleportation? Because I don't know, y'all. If y'all still want to try to go for the entire week of the 11th to the 17th over to Calcite, you could do that.
Only if we could like reasonably guarantee a way back. Like you're saying that you don't think that we could do enough research, go in, get everything handled, and get back in time. So
Don't think you would have the speed it would take to go there, do research, and take down or find the Keyblade before you'd have to come. You could probably go there and do research, but because it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-day walk to these swamplands, and then you don't know where in there they are.
Yeah.
It would probably be too long. Have to come back like day of if you're lucky.
It'd be really hilarious. We show up at like 11:30 before the race.
It's like, where you been all week? We wanted to contact you about this change in the rules. Oh. Let's see. Yeah, God willing, by next week I will have set up tokens for all of the other racers.
You can make like just a simple circle track, and just so that we can have an idea about where each person is, so we know like how well we're doing or
I
whatever.
was thinking I might just do a as silly as it sounds, just a straight up square.
Yeah.
Set of lines, and then probably only move 1 or 2 of y'all just to show where the race is at a given time, and then just have a lineup on the right side of all the racers, and then move them around as you go, like as you move ahead through the people, because y'all will start at the back, but you'll all be lined up to start the race, so it's not like you're gonna be 100 feet back or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll technically, quote unquote, be at the back, and then as you go, working your way forward. Depending on how well you do, like jumping over 3 or 4 other races at a time.
Yeah, that's the other thing is like we don't know how wide the track is, how easy it's going to be to pass. We don't know, It's going to be so exciting. It's going to be so exciting to see like how you specifically choose to like adjudicate some of this stuff, because like it's going to be very freeform, I think.
It is. It's kind of intentionally be similar in design to a set of skill checks, but larger and a little more freeform. Like I'm probably going to come up with a couple ideas of what the better racers do and would know to do. Because like not all of them are just a racer. They might have other tricks on the side, or they might have gotten used to things, or even been given things to use.
Yeah.
And different techniques they might try. And not all of them are horses. Only a few of them are actually horses. And,
Right.
Some are horse adjacent, like the guy in the zebra, but others are definitely not. The guy said there's at least 2 other dinosaurs.
Oh, okay.
I don't know which dinosaurs they are, but there's at least 2 other dinosaurs that are in the race.
I'm prepping coffee. If it's too loud, I can mute myself.
You're fine.
Prepping coffee or making coffee right now?
I'm prepping it for the morning.
Way to plan ahead.
Coffee made. So because I do the men's group meeting thing Thursday mornings, I make extra coffee for both me and my wife. Because normally what it'll do is I'll make stuff for her, and then make mine later. But Wednesday night, Thursday morning, I do basically like a triple batch. So I know that we're covered.
Nice. Anything like my family, you drink a lot of it too.
Crazy part is I'm actually at the point where it's like I pretty much only like gourmet coffee now, and so it's like I really don't drink as much as I used to.
Makes sense if only as a cost-saving measure. I don't know, I'm not much of a coffee drinker.
I drink coffee sparingly. Unless I'm at work, in which case I drink coffee liberally. Because they have good coffee at work and it's free.
And who knows what other stuff may come into play. Thicket's Lion has the keen smell attribute and has advantage on wisdom checks that rely on smell. Who knows if that's going to matter?
Yeah, that's why I was thinking about so many different things. And I was like, that I could see any of it being useful. Like the climb thing could be incredibly useful in that area, but we're also missing out on 10 speed every time.
Yeah.
And then
particularly applies to the straightaway, but you're guaranteed to miss out on it 4 times. And the difference between the D4 and D6 or D6 D8 could be a big one.
Yeah. I'm gonna trust that we have enough other things going on that'll be fine. But I do like the idea of hedging our bets with some of the advantage rolls on some of those saves.
As well as literally with your bets. Which the guy, I guess he would and I would inform you. I'm trying to think of what the maximum bet they would allow is, because again, they have to be aware that if someone bets a massive amount on a low likely to win, they have to make sure they have enough money to do the payout. So I'm considering if they would limit it to like 100 or 1,000 gold pieces per person. Maybe 100 per person makes sense for the bettors. Because then, even if they, like, if y'all bet 100 on Tyrannosaurus, Gambit, and Garand, you'd get back the 100 plus another 500. And so, if you do that with all of you, and it'd probably be like 100 per thing, so if you wanted to bet 100 on that set and then 100 on Doug Thicket, they'd probably let you do both. That makes sense to me. Because it's not all on the same person. And then at that point, y'all are still 200 per person, and y'all are getting close to like half your net worth, I think. There's 5 of you. So that would be 1,000 gold worth effectively down on the 2 of you. Which, assuming you do have your cake and eat it too, with Garand and Gambit being in first, that would be 500 times 6. So 3,000 gold pieces on that set of bets. And then another 1,500 on the other set, because second place gets a 50% of what their gain is.
Well, you have them at 4, so that would be...
That's true, so 4. So it would be...
5 times 5, so 25.
It's 25, which... technically, because it halves the additional amount, it would be 500 plus 5 times 4, or 2,000. So 2,500 would be the base. payout if
win.
win. So then you would get 1,500 because the 2,000 is what gets halved.
So
you
that would
get
be
1,500
4,500 plus, or yeah, 4,500
4,500 plus 7K
plus
for
7K,
winning,
so
plus
11 and
2K for second.
So it's 11.5K.
Is that include the additional 2K for second?
Yeah, because 7K from the 2 wins, and then it's
That's right. Plus the 4,500.
Yeah,
From
4.5K.
the bets.
Yeah.
Keep in mind that 1,000 of that would be from the inputs of the bet. If I'm doing the math in my head correctly. So it would be effectively a 10,500 gold piece payout if everything goes to plan.
Yeah. Which is a good amount of money, but still, I have to be honest.
That's quite a bit. That's fair. I don't know if that's as much, but hey, it definitely gets y'all's foot far more in the door than it is now.
Yeah, that's really what's going on. It's going to get our foot in the door. Before we were able to window shop and look at those things and be like, hey, those are nice. Now we'll be like, hey, do you got anything on sale today?
Yeah,
we're going to be like trying to coupon clip our way to magic items. Think about it this way.
By level D&D, what's the expected character gold wealth by level?
8.
8 level.
I'm ready for this. Ready for this moment.
Note this does not include magic items. The approximate wealth in gold each piece you should have based on the DMG. 8,600 gold pieces per person.
Each. That's right, each, sir.
If you account for, magic items, maybe a little bit less, but no, yeah, you would still be far behind
I have
where I maybe should.
250.
Listen, maybe I didn't do a good job of giving y'all money. Who knows? But this gives y'all a good start, like a good amount, and then who knows?
Poor.
Maybe when y'all get other stuff, or if y'all talked about going and raiding Bale's father's castle, so maybe there's something there. Who knows?
We'll be level 14, and we might have like level 5 equivalent money.
Yeah, it's like they'll get to 14, and y'all got like 30K between you, and it's like, well.
Just remember, you have in that magic shop that you brought us to, at the Pieces of Avalon, a 6,000 gold piece armor that we cannot cooperatively purchase even a third of it. So
though I do think that's something I will probably continue to consistently do, is if it makes sense for them to have a magic item that y'all can't afford, then they would have a magic item y'all can't afford. Granted, past that point, like, they're not gonna have stupid amounts of where did I put it? Is it in character creation? Is that where I threw the thing? Yeah, the breastplate of cold resistance, that is expensive. Apparently elemental resistance armor is apparently very expensive.
Which is fine if you
have the money to do it.
If we had 8,000 gold each.
But hey, at least y'all know, if y'all want to trick out on all of you having +1 items and potions of healing and rings of warmth, or a war pick of life stealing, and a bunch of bullets for Gambit, y'all could spend the money that you get. We'll get there. We'll get y'all the money in time. Don't worry. One step at a time. Because it did occur to me, it's like, what happens if by sheer rolls of the dice, y'all lose? Like, y'all don't even get third.
Thicket's one and only armor upgrade was from leather armor to a gambeson.
I mean, hey, that's pretty normal, actually. Plus X armor is not common. Like, even just like +1 armor, I think, is like a rare item. been restrictive with magic items. I think I've been pretty liberal with them. Relatively speaking. I don't know.
It's fine. Like it, we are a pretty good team that works together pretty well. So you could make the argument of we don't need the extra help.
Money
The
is
Messengers, the cheapest adventuring group around.
Yeah.
Or the poorest adventuring group around.
Yeah, we're really not blinged out like at all. It's adorable. We've got like, okay, what will happen if I try to gamble the censure of Navos?
What's the
Is
value?
that I
Market
have
value of 500 to 5,000. They'd probably take it as a max of probably like 1,000 bet. Just because I can't imagine they'd be willing to give a payout that's worth more with the amount of access to.
Well, what about do they
Okay.
have the magic items? Therefore, I bid this magic item, and then victorious, and then get that magic item and some other magic items back.
If you can find someone to bet with, yeah. But their standard like money bet wouldn't be a thing. But if you wanted to find someone at the college, or at the castle, or heck even at the church, and say, hey, I want to make a bet with you on us winning this race for this item or that. That's not something like the betting table would have access to.
Okay.
But there are other people that you could try and talk with. Heck, if you wanted to increase the amount of money you're, getting out of it, you could try and talk to some sketchy betting guys. Of course, that might open a whole other can of worms, but you could do it.
I think that Gambit's Race Rex name should be the Gambler.
The Gambler?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Ground Evenstar and the Gambler.
There is also a way y'all could try and get 5k gold. You have a warrant list in your pocket. You could try and do that.
That's true. That's true.
That's technically an option.
Wait, are you talking
We
about
could just
trying to pull
gamble
off-
Gambit.
Yeah, if you want to try and like sell Gambit
Turn him in.
back, like turn him in and then try and rescue. Well, I mean, you don't have to rescue him. I would just assume that you.
No.
I would assume you would try to
This is the
rescue him.
Avatar episode.
That'd be a
Sorry,
way to-
Gambit, we're too poor. We need the money. Roll a new character.
Roll a new character. We're selling you. At the same time, like, nah, I don't feel too bad about y'all not having as much money as other parties. It's fine. Maybe low money campaigns are good. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
Makes us more desperate.
It does make you more desperate. Especially early game. I like early game desperation because it is more fun and penny pinching. And then it's nice to around, like, once you hit level 10 to be able to throw 100 gold at someone's face and not care. Like, oh, you're a nice owner of this inn. We're gonna change your entire life. Here's 100 gold.
Oh, I thought you meant like chuck 100 gold at somebody.
Or that. You could literally just, like, throw it at someone's face, you know? And you wouldn't care.
Like,
Fireball
I'm gonna
with gold
chuck-
flakes on it.
I'm gonna chuck money at you because it'll hurt really bad, but it's not really that bad because it's 100 gold.
It's like you're gonna take the pain and you're gonna be okay with it because I just threw 100 gold at you.
Gold-plated magic missile.
Gold-plated magic missile. It always hits, but now it hits with style. Though I'm probably not going to do it for this campaign, especially like halfway through. I did see a set of rules, just for funsies before we get back into it, that is a comfort rules, where mostly between the two ranges of your maximum minimum comfort, it doesn't affect you much. But if you're at minimum comfort, you start to take levels of exhaustion, and at maximum levels of comfort, you get an inspiration. And then, comfort is changed by, like, your comfort decreases if you're like crawling through the mud, or if you go unconscious, and then your comfort increases when you spend money on yourself to buy fine clothes, or a fancy glass of wine, or go to a spa. And then, I'm like, that's an interesting way to do the mechanic.
So it's basically self-care the mechanic.
Basically. I don't know if that'd be fun as a mechanic, but it sure was an interesting read. But I think we'll get back into it for anything y'all want to try and get done for the time. It is about 2 p.m. Friday the 9th of June, year 417. Thicket could continue to be a lion for another hour if you wanted, because I think it's half your level.
I believe so.
Yeah, so you can just chill for another hour if you'd like. You'd like to
It's
register
already been
Gambit.
3 hours.
I decided that y'all, ran the track for a bit. You got used to it. You got prepped up.
You
I
guys have
didn't
some.
roll anything.
I'm sorry. Is there anything you would like to roll? Would you like to try the athletics?
Well, I
checks
don't
and
know.
things?
What were you having Gambit roll?
Athletics checks for the straightaway.
I was just rolling random stuff.
Athletics checks for the straightaway, which for you would be lion with the just the C next to strength, which because of your 50-foot speed, you would get an extra D6 on the roll. Like for their 21, roll a D6 to add to it. That's an extra 2, so a 23 on that roll. Your con saves would be for the stamina, which for you would only be a stamina of 8. You'd have to manage it a bit closer than the others would. Or rather than Gambit specifically would. That
Did you say
is...
con save?
Yep, con save. Or con check, but they're the same for you. It's like, for example, there, boom. You're good enough that you do not lose any points. You would maintain your stamina for that section. Something like going through the forest, you might have to use your survival, which your survival is probably higher than Doug's, so you would make the check. Because for the Doug Thicket pair, I'm assuming that unless otherwise noted, just Thicket's going to make the checks. And Doug is going to be focusing on the other racers and such. Is that right?
For survival, would Doug be able to give advantage?
Maybe not advantage, but he could give you a bonus.
That Doug had proficiency in it.
Yeah. So he has proficiency, so that'd be like an extra 3 or an extra D4.
He's trying to limit the ways that we get advantage so that we have to use more resources.
Reason to use the stamina mechanic, otherwise that doesn't make any sense. Because if the rider can just give the steed advantage and everything, then there's no point, and I would just take away the advantage.
Yeah.
And say, boom, the rider's already doing that.
Well, do it however you want, but I will say, you could have advantage and still roll 2 1s.
This is true. But it takes away the reason to want to use special effects if you can just use an action to help.
Yeah, I think that the idea is that,
want to encourage more creative uses of things and not just action help, action help, action
right.
help. Your insight survival is probably better than Doug's. Animal handling, you can handle yourself better, I guess. If someone tries to terrify you, like a giant T-Rex next to you, your wisdom save or insight would be what you'd use. I don't know how medicine could play into this. Stealth could actually play into it at some point. That'd be interesting. You would get, potentially where you go through, you would get bonus. So Thicket in particular is going to definitely get a bonus in the forest area, which I'm going to say, because of your tree stride effect, is an extra D8 on the survival
Land
check
stride?
to get. Yes, land stride. You get an extra D8 onto your forest check.
How does
Would it be
stealth
helpful?
play into this? Are we drafting people or what?
Stealth? I mean, I don't know. Y'all figure out a way to use it. I don't know how that would apply.
Would it be helpful to have a list of everyone's passive perception, insight, and investigation so that, maybe if different things are picked up? Would that...
So I don't know. I actually have a neat thing on the party sheet. I can look at everyone's passive perception. It doesn't show me everyone's passive insight, but I can at least see the perception.
Okay.
But I'd probably check. If y'all wanted to make a list, I would have no qualms knowing what everyone's passive perception and investigation are. Honestly, I should just make one going forward for me in general, just because that would be useful to have for whenever y'all notice things that aren't a roll, but would be a thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to turn my computer off. Is there anything I need to do in Fantasy Grants before
You're okay
I
for
do
the
that?
moment?
It's overheating really bad.
Oh no. Are you able to join on your phone?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
on Discord on my phone. I just won't be on Fantasy Grounds.
And though I
Ticket's
can't
passive
tell.
perception is 23, and his passive investigation is 15.
I'll write those down. I'll just go through the sheets and write those down. Your running, leap, and pounce things are going to play in. I can't tell you how yet, but I can tell you that it will help. You also might get some help from Keen Smell, too. I don't think you get any of your other class features while shifted. You just get your proficiencies.
How is Pounce going to help? It requires you to make a claw attack.
That's fair. I guess just running, leap. Pounce is... I guess Pounce wouldn't help, but running, leap would. I just kind of think of them as one thing because they're both about the lion jumping. And that has some potential uses. Is there anything else you would like to know for Thicket's checks and stuff during the thing? Anything you can come up with that you want to try to do, you can try to do it, and we'll have you roll checks for it.
I don't know if you guys ever heard when Micah and I were talking, but we could hire people from the college to cast some of the like enhance ability spells. Micah, what you could do is you could say enhance ability Bear's Endurance is one of the forbidden spells. Or you could be like, yeah, if you cast it's like a flat +1 or flat +2 or something like
Yeah,
that.
it'd probably be just a flat bonus to your stamina points. Which gives you... I'm going to say if you get Bear's Endurance, it'll give you a flat bonus of an additional 2 stamina points, I'll say. For Bear's Endurance. Okie doke. I'll type out this individual stuff. Is there any other race prep we want to do today? What is the party doing next?
I think we need to go ahead and register Grand Evenstar and the mighty dragon.
The Gambler.
No! The Gambler!
Does Thicket have a special name?
I mean, he wants one, but I can't think of one.
What about Big Thicket?
I feel like it could be better, but I don't know.
It's like I'm not satisfied, but I don't have an alternative for you.
Yeah.
Rexy.
Hi, Echo.
No, Rexy's the Gambler. Thicket's a lion. The liar.
Oh, I like that one.
What is a thicket but bigger?
A hedge?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that. Hedge and Gambler.
Hedge and Gambler.
I thought it was
Hedge
the
your bets,
Gambler.
y'all.
I thought it was the Gambler.
The Gambler.
Mm-hmm. It's
Alright.
the Gambler.
It's the Duke.
Alright. Y'all can remove the other 5 gold pieces from each of you. You are now...
I've already removed.
Nope. I'll fully register
What are
for
we-
the race.
What are we removing?
5
Another
gold to pay
five
for
the other
the...
team.
Yeah, because you're registering another team. It's another 25 gold.
Oh, another one.
A second.
Someone give me 312 gold.
Yeah, 317 minus 5 is 312.
Mm-hmm.
Good job.
I can do math when I'm not looking at it.
Interesting.
Gambit, you want to go halfsies on the saddle?
Sure. How much is it?
We each gotta get 4.
Okay.
You're at 308.
Mm-hmm. I just
Nice.
better make this back because I'm trying to get a +1 pistol.
Well, I was thinking about that. If we keep Thicket and Doug in the lead, and then right at the end, they slow down, let us pull ahead for first. Overall, we'll win more money.
I thought
Mm.
you were for
So-
a second you were gonna go into something about using the pistol.
So, like, how much are we betting?
Well,
And are we doing like a pool? So, like, we all kind of bet evenly, and then we kind of divvy up what we make.
we could do it like that. We could do it percentage. I could say, hey, I'll let you borrow this, and then you pay me back, or however we want to do it. But
You're allowed to bet up 100 gold per person per rider you bet on. So everyone can bet up to 200. And assuming everything goes correctly, y'all will divvy up 11,500 to everyone. Effectively, everyone would gain an additional 2,000. And I think it's everyone would gain an additional 2,100 from where they are now. Is what he was talking about, is if everyone bets the max amount on the 2 riders, and then y'all intentionally allow the 1 to 5 Gambit and Garage to win, and the other set to get second, you would maximize the amount of money with everyone getting 2,100 gold a person. But if y'all lose, everyone loses 200 gold.
Yeah, I can't lose 200 gold. That's most of my life savings.
well,
He's
you
And
not a
even
very
though,
good thief, is he?
well,
No,
I'm
there's just not a lot of money in
trying
the world.
not to be a criminal here.
There's just not a lot of money in this world. It turns out coins are not common.
That's kind of the
Well-
point of them, actually.
Well, actually, part of it's because y'all keep doing things that don't have cash at the end of the line, like freeing
We're too
a city.
altruistic.
Yeah, you're very altruistic. You free a city, and then y'all wanted to make sure that you returned any money that you could from the bandit camp. And y'all talked to a lot of people.
No, we didn't
Sorry.
return money. Remember, we kept the money from the bandit camp. This is
Yes, but
poaching.
We did.
Y'all offered to return things if they were able to figure out where they were, and Sasha said, no, it's fine, consider it your payment. Y'all did offer, though, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
that was
I think we offered like the jewelry and stuff like that could have had sentimental value.
Yeah.
Right.
Beyond what money.
But yes, turns out money's not as easy to come by for an adventurer like you.
You think, what? I'll roll a 41 on a performance, and surely I'll get some money. And you get a little coin, but it's like, I remember getting that in the 20s.
The problem was you
Mhm.
rolled that 40 in a tiny town. If you did the same thing here in Vacuo, you might actually make some money.
A lot more.
Well, we'll see. Maybe I'll see about performing for the king or queen, I guess rather, and it'd be very nice to get that to work out.
Alright, is the
All right,
party
well, I
heading
guess-
any?
Go to lunch, right? We gotta go eat.
Yeah. How long until, so like, what's our timeline? So like, how long do we have until the party?
So it is currently the 9th. There is 11 days between now and the the day of the summer solstice. Events will be happening
Okay.
over the course of the entire week. Especially like John would know that a lot of the town celebrates the whole week. Things tend to kick off on the day of, though. So the 20th will be when things kick off, and they'll probably continue on through the rest of the week. That's the day of the race. Y'all know that there are different events going on. There is a show by the giant eel riders, apparently, in the lake. The next day, the 21st, is the day of the Hain Institute celebration. And then y'all have been told that the 24th, that Saturday of the weekend, is the day of the Summer Lords meeting, where all of the current Lords of Vacua will be in town to meet with the Queen.
The queen is coming.
The Queen lives here. Everyone else will be coming to meet the Queen. Or to see the
No.
Queen. They come to her.
Which
She doesn't go to
is
them.
My uncle will be here.
It's true.
Oh.
Well, we've gotten some conflicting information about him, so I have interest in meeting him at the very least.
Okay. I wouldn't meet him alone.
I wasn't planning on it.
Yeah, you can take Spider Thicket with you. Extremely effective. 10
Spider
out of 10. Do
Thicket.
recommend.
Will Spider Thicket again?
And then Wood Spider Thicket again. Spider Thicket, Spider Thicket. Does whatever a Spider Thicket does.
Yeah, so I guess we go back to
You
the
return to
Dapper.
the Dapper Bee.
Have some lunch.
Wow, we've gotten 2 separate spam chats this session. Look at us on Twitch getting 2 different bots.
Whoa, we're getting
Wow.
famous.
Oh yeah, all the bots. They saw
Mhm.
Darth Vader and they're like, "Whoa, wait a second."
Yep. Little did they know, I have it set to block links. Let's see. So as y'all return, it is, especially getting onto the 2 p.m., the early afternoon, there are not nearly as many people in the Dapper Bee. Whatever lunch rush might have happened has currently passed. It is a Friday, though, so there are a few people around. And you see sitting off to the side, relatively close to the door, her white kimono around her, a simple cloak over her, kind of hiding the mask that you know exists on her shoulder, and kind of hiding her long nodachi. The tiefling Asakayori, and her pink and white, the 2 horns of hers. Her hood is pulled back, and so you can see her bow and her horns as she sips a cup of tea, looking out among the crowd.
I can't remember. Has John met Asuka?
For like 5 seconds.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
I was gonna
think.
say-
Very
Not-
brief.
Wasn't
Briefly.
yeah.
Very briefly, you walked up on them talking.
Asuka!
Hello.
Hi!
Nice to see you all.
Glad you made it.
Happy to. You requested me for something? No, I don't mean to apologize. I tend to get to the point.
No, it's fine. You're probably quite busy. Well,
Some days, some not.
first things first. You know that we are entering the race.
I did not.
Yeah. So if you want to bet, you're more than welcome to bet on either Doug and Hedge, which will be Thicket, right? Or you can bet on Grond, and the gambler, and I'll point over to Gambit.
I don't know if I will, but given my master tends to make public appearances, there will actually be quite a few people. I think even the Queen tends to show up at least for the start of the race. I'll likely be there for at least a few minutes of it, and Bellerin I may watch. But I don't know if I'll bet. I don't tend to. I'm not much of a gambler. I like to keep my money where it is.
Well, you must have a very good way of getting your hands on some.
I help around college and the castle occasionally, and there is payment that I am given from Simeon as his apprentice. Albeit it's not a large sum, but I don't need a lot, to be honest.
That's good. That's good. Well, the real reason that we wanted to ask your help is we would like to speak with Simeon. We're trying to get a hold of some information, including but not limited to the witches of the north, to the east there of Calcite. Learning as much as we can about them, and then to see if there's anything else that we might find.
Interesting, just to pick his... I mean, if you're just planning to pick his ears about history, the college may be just as good a spot. Does it need to be him? I just don't want to waste his time if I don't have to. Not that I mind the offer. I mean, you have helped me. I certainly owe you the favor.
How do you feel when it comes to the relationship between Sasha, Hellion, and...
As she clears her throat, having spit out a little bit of her coffee. It's about that. I
great.
didn't
She's privy.
expect she'd use a messenger. Then again, I don't tend to know much about their relationship.
Well, we are the messengers.
That's a fair point. Sorry, you were saying if I knew about her... What's the specific question?
How do you feel about them in terms of how much do you care if they get along? How much do you care if they are, confounded by one another?
They're quite happier when things are going well and they're getting along. Simeon can get pent up and snap at people occasionally, and when things are not going well. So, recently they've been. Oh, he's been a little on edge.
Oh, do you feel comfortable sharing why?
I imagine a man misses his wife.
Has she passed away?
No.
Wait, are they married?
Yes. Oh, you didn't know that.
Garon's doubling over with laughter. Garon is just
Mind blown meme.
Yeah, they've been.
Thicket has the surprised Pikachu face.
Do Doug and Gambit react?
Um,
Does Gambit also have surprised Pikachu face?
I don't think he would react very much.
Question.
Yes.
Would not in
yes.
character. Would John know previously who Simeon is?
You've heard the name before. You just know he's the court wizard
Okay.
for the queen. Effectively, like the head of all magical affairs.
Yeah. Okay.
As a regular
Question?
person, you would know. Anyway. Me or Asuka?
Of you,
Yes.
what is the general, public perception of the queen? Like, is she like a Queen Elizabeth kind of figure, or like the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland? Like, what are we talking?
Define the perception of Queen Elizabeth, and which Queen Elizabeth are you talking about? Because that can vary
Oh, well, like,
wildly.
kind of like not actually more like a
She's not a figurehead, if
a
that's what you're
symbol
asking.
or of like what's going on, or is she like actually in control? Is she kind of tyrannical?
It is a direct monarchy. She rules over the lords with a relatively iron fist. Any rules that she puts down have to be done nationwide. For example, there is a law against slavery that no matter what the lord does, that is guaranteed. No law against general slavery. Servitude for like prisons and things, is more okay, more acceptable. But
Obviously, yes.
enslaving people by race is a hard no. Anything like that is big no. And anytime she makes a rule like that, she controls it. And if any lords try to, go against her, they tend to be deposed and replaced. But what you would understand, there is a healthy dose of respect for her. But she isn't tyrannical. She isn't dictatorial beyond that of a regular monarch per se. John would know a bit better, especially living in her direct city. Things go pretty well. She's fairly liberal and free with her policies. Obviously, safety is a big issue, especially with Grimm. But the people generally like her, and they view her in good standing.
Okay, cool.
And how did Doug feel about Asuka mentioning that they're married? Simeon and Sasha?
I think Doug is I think more shocked by everyone else's reaction of why is that surprising than he actually is about connecting the dots.
Fair enough.
We're like thinking about the relationship.
He looks around at y'all laughing and shocked faces. I guess y'all didn't know that then. Did she ask you to do something? Because they've had an argument at some point a couple of months ago, and so they've been a little on edge with each other.
Yeah, so all right. I
mean,
feel
we
like
trust this lady, right?
You do.
I
Or
feel
at least
like
the party seems to.
I feel like at this point,
Why don't we just tell her?
yeah, it seems like we really could more or less, count on her. So, well, Asuka, she has asked us to acquire a book that she claims is hers, that apparently her husband has. Now, she did specify that she doesn't care how we get it back. So, do you think he might be willing to consider returning it to her with an apology himself, and maybe making it right, and then possibly restoring their relationship? Does that?
Yes, Garand has entered his marriage counselor era.
Hey, we did this before, though. Remember? Like, oh wait,
Yeah.
no, wait, you weren't. Was she there for that? No, wait, yeah, you.
I was not. I don't think I was there for that.
Yeah,
I've heard of it though.
That was a different kind of marriage counsel. That was kind of a grief more so counseling, but
yeah. Counseling takes many forms.
In general. This isn't the first time the parties counseled
At
people.
one time, we missed out on a cloak of billowing.
Instead of killing the cult leader, you helped them overcome their differences.
This is why we're poor.
This is why you're poor. They did have money, for the record. Y'all didn't
This
take
is why we can't have good things.
You know what? It sounds like to me though that we're learning is it just that Micah does not like to reward kindness and goodness.
They did give you stuff.
Fire.
Give you stuff.
We keep asking for XP. This whole time we should have been asking for gold.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
that
we
was
never
the
I
difference.
know.
We never knew. So that's gonna be the new ask.
Every
What's our
end of
GP?
every
What's our GP?
session. So, you got any gold for us?
Session GP. Can we get some session GP?
I would
Mhm.
like to put an interest in on the session number. You see, I would like to make an investment there. Well,
No. So, is that something that he might be willing to do?
maybe not under that guise, but I could tell him people want to meet with him about some of the books he has, and he might meet with you. I can't guarantee he'll necessarily... I don't know how he'll react. But it's worth a shot.
I mean, I'm not wanting you to put you in trouble with your mentor. I mean, he's trying to help you figure out this whole situation.
I highly doubt he'd hold it against me for very long, if I'm honest.
Yeah. All right, well,
I've made him angry before. I can't imagine it would be something big. Maybe. I mean, I could be wrong. Who knows? Maybe I'll be on the street next week. But
maybe this is what they fought over. That's kind of...
this is true. Do you know what the book is?
Indeed, we do. Where did I put my note? It is The Mysteries of Starlight.
That one.
I couldn't tell you. I've read some of the books, but I'll be honest, I'm not as much of a reader as he is. Well, I can definitely set up the meeting.
Do you think it would be worth asking him about our condition? Or do you think
understand
he would
he's-
have any more information
What
than
do you mean
Sasha had?
condition?
The Grim.
Wait,
You mean,
I don't
like,
think we've
as a
met
people?
Asuka
I don't know how to
after
get
we
rid of...
figured out that.
So you figured out what?
Oh wait.
Oh, is that out of
we
character?
didn't.
Out of
Yeah,
character.
that was out of
Yeah.
character. I'm just trying to get the timeline straight. We left Asuka before we met Sasha Hellion, so therefore Asuka doesn't know about Thicket, right?
That's correct.
I thought she did.
Right.
I'm pretty sure there was a time where we met.
Last time y'all saw each other was in Delta. Not seen each other since then. When you helped out with her sister, y'all have not seen each other. And you met with Sasha Hellion after you helped out with her sister.
I could have sworn there was a time where we met again afterwards.
Were you thinking that she was there with a meeting at some point with her and with Sasha?
I have like a very vivid memory of like Thicket being like, "Oh, we're Grim buddies."
I don't think that ever happened.
So
Maybe
you may have said
you
it, but I don't think Asuka was there when you did.
No.
You may have been like, "Oh, when we see her again, maybe that." But if it helps at all, I actually thought that she was partially involved in restoring the shattered memory thing because of when we went to into the special dream world, whatever. But maybe that was someone else that was in
But I'm
the.
pretty certain you have not seen her.
Okay, well, then just retcon what I just said.
Yeah, so I could definitely set up the meeting. No promises on how well he'll react. Who knows, maybe I'll help them get over whatever their current argument is.
When during the day is he in the best mood?
The first 5 minutes after he has his coffee.
Could we set up an early morning meeting then?
Probably.
Is there?
He's not always in a
like
bad mood,
drink?
especially, he's very cordial and he's a good teacher. Don't think of him as a mean person necessarily, but he's less happy in general when he hasn't seen Miss Hellion in a while.
Is there a favorite coffee he has, or is there any other way that you might suggest that we go about doing this? Because it was the request that she had made of us to help us with something that we were doing, and so we want to honor our agreement with that. But now that I know that they are married and so forth, I'm going to try with that angle. But if you really don't think I should, then I won't. But
I have no idea. You're certainly welcome to. Who knows, maybe they'll make up on the 24th when they see each other. Or they'll get into a shouting match. Or
Either way,
neither.
it'll be fun to watch.
Either way. Or neither. You know, sometimes it's just business when she comes here, other times it's them seeing each other, and they both have the ability to teleport, so it's not uncommon for them to visit each other when things are well. Though it's been only occasionally in the last couple months. You're certainly welcome to try. Worst case, he throws the book at you and tells you to go away, I would guess.
I think that's the best case, because then we have the book. And we
That's
don't have
fair.
to talk to him again.
well,
That's a fair
I
point.
mean, if he's hard to deal with, then it may be the best. But my personal opinion at this point is the best would be the two of them reconciling, and him bringing back the book as a way to reconcile with her, and also fits very nicely in the whole "I don't care how it happens" requirement.
That would be a fun implementation of her instructions. I would not. That I think would be an interesting turn of events. I don't know. I know him pretty well, but... And occasionally they'll have friends who will talk. Yeah, but I don't know, genuinely. I don't see why not giving it a try. I also don't know how much stock he'll put into your word. You are strangers.
Do we have any proof that we know his wife, or would that even be helpful?
Don't know if it'd be
That
any
wouldn't be.
helpful.
I don't know
Maybe.
how we could make him trust us.
Who knows? He might send us on a quest, and maybe we got to do something for him. I don't know. Yeah, it's possible that even just showing the bow that was enchanted, maybe he could trace the magic and realize that it's from Sasha's students.
Can you trace magic like that?
I wouldn't put it
I don't
past
know.
people who are the court wizard.
I guess. He's supposedly powerful.
And if he's married to her, you know how
It might
long
be
she's
true.
been alive. It's a shot in the dark, but it's worth it to me to find out any possible way that we could try to effectively convince him to do the right thing.
It's worth a shot.
Can we meet with him tomorrow? Would that be all right?
I'll double check the schedule. And either myself or send a messenger to meet you if I happen to be busy. Doesn't tend to be a lot of things on Saturdays, though. If it's early, then yes. Though some Saturdays there's an influx of townspeople bringing grievances, requests, etc. to the castle and to the government per se. And sometimes he responds to those, sometimes he helps work things out, or he may be in the queen and her attendants. But I can certainly check. At the very least, if it's fairly early, you should be able to. Here, I'll let you know if otherwise. Come to the base of the clock tower. Be there at 5:15 in the morning.
Dang, that is early. Okay.
He's an early riser.
Oh,
To my
what's wrong with that?
Well,
He's also
sounds
a
like-
hard teacher.
Right then.
I get up, and whenever he gets up.
All right. Well, it's appreciated. How's your sister doing? She doing all right?
As far as I know, yes, she recovered quite well. I did send some messages down there with the help of Simeon, actually. And yes, as far as we're aware, she is doing well. She has recovered. Doesn't remember most of what happened, which is for the best.
How's
And what about your relationship with your mom?
Are we going full on therapy here, or what?
Yeah, I don't know if I would
She's our
like
friend, we
the
care about her.
therapy right now.
Oh,
My mother was the one we spoke to, as me and my father, I get a bit less. And
oh, that's right.
she seemed all right, and she said he was good as well. It's fine.
How's the Grim thing?
He's still there.
You made any progress on it?
No
That's why
success.
he's still there.
That's why he's still there, yes. Occasionally I'll check into the school, see if the, oh, now Mike is forgetting. What's the, curse removing school of magic? I'll check in with the abjuration. Occasionally they're aware at this point, given the number of times they've asked, but they haven't had anything new. Simeon hasn't come across anything new in his research. I haven't come across anything new. The item I tried back when we were in Schist didn't work. I don't have another lead right now.
Have you heard about the skull thing? Gambit Thicket, Doug, you guys saw that. Can you explain it to her a little bit better than I could? I didn't actually see it, but can you?
The skull thing?
The what?
I think it was a skull. Crystal something. That the one gentleman had, the bad guy.
The statue
George
Was it a
Lucas?
statue?
of the vampire.
Was it a statue of a vampire? I can't remember exactly what you all had told me. I'm so sorry. But when you broke into the man's house to find the incriminating evidence to prove that he was trying to hire bandits.
When we were doing the heist,
Yeah,
I
doing
wasn't
that.
paying attention to what we found there. Gambit, take it away.
I'm not even going to ask about the heist, but you didn't pay attention to what you found during a heist?
I was a spider.
You just see her mouth open for a second and then close again, and then look to Gambit.
And to be
I was
fair,
there to make sure Gambit didn't die.
Be far.
What happened?
You found
I mean-
something in a heist?
Oh yeah, the thing that was a grim. It was a seer. It was a So the crystal
I don't know
ball
if
was
anyone-
actually a grim.
You found a crystal ball that was a grim, which I don't think any of y'all know the name of Seer. It wasn't in the picture, but I don't think anyone succeeded on a religion check enough to know. You found a grim that had a crystal ball on it?
Well, it was the crystal ball.
It trapped Gambit for a bit.
What happened?
I got
know.
out
Well, yes, obviously.
and we killed it.
That's good.
I wish we could have poked at it more before we had to kill it, but we were under time constraints.
as we so often are when Grim
Also-
are involved.
Don't tell anyone else about this because we were kind of trespassing when we found it.
I did hear the word heist a second ago. But
Heist
honestly,
kind of implies
last
that.
night, y'all told me about unseating a lord and all sorts of other things. At this point, I'm just not going to question. I'm going to assume you had a reason.
Well, yeah, no, he was he had like a whole bandit camp working for him and like assaulting merchants, and we found like his ledger of all the merchants coming in and out and all this, and basically just holding up people, and I guess making money off that. I don't know, but
Interesting.
apparently he had some kind of control over this Grim in some way.
control over a Grim, are you sure?
I mean,
It
now I'm not
appeared
really sure
so.
what to think. 'cause
It was
seems
in
like,
his house, in like a storage room.
Yeah, it was like sealed off on the
No,
top.
you definitely
mean-
need to meet Simeon even without the counseling. I think he'd be interested to hear about this. I don't know anything about it. I've never heard of someone controlling a Grim before. And I imagine if it worries me, it'll worry him. He may have more information, though.
I don't. Yeah.
That
I don't
seems
know if it was
concerning.
as much as like controlling the Gram, but it was definitely captive.
Also something we haven't managed to do. Grim disintegrate in captivity after a day or two at most.
Oh.
If they
That's
can't get out,
How
they
come
just...
yours hasn't disintegrated?
No, because he found my soul, as far as I'm aware.
Hmm.
I don't know if
How
he's
does
technically
Housewife
even
work?
captive properly.
Well, it
Sometimes
was
he
in the
acts like-
top.
Sorry, I was
What?
just
He
going to
acts like
say,
what?
sometimes that he acts like he can hear what we say out here, other times he plays dumb, so I have no idea.
It was in the top room in the top floor in this little room of this dude named Clifton. Might be arrested now, but if you want to go poke around in that room and you might be able to find something.
no, I'm pretty sure
It,
that
it looked it was
Sasha
real
said she killed him.
culty.
I thought Sasha said she killed him.
Clifton?
I thought so.
When?
She said she handled it, and the way that it sounded very definitive.
I thought she said she handled all of the other Grim.
You all must have had quite a... What were you there, a week, a day? Sounds like you had quite a time in Vane.
We learned a lot in Vane.
Yeah, we were
Saw
there
a
for
lot. Did a lot.
See?
I have Grim blood.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Is it like mine, or...
Well, I haven't
Okay.
heard voices,
That's good.
except like
Right.
one time when I was dreaming, but it sounded nice.
Well, that's a start, I suppose. Have you tried to have it removed as though a curse or anything yet? Might be worth a shot.
Well, no, but Sasha knows about it, and I kind of figured if Sasha couldn't do anything about it, then
You may have, I guess, assumed that it was like mine. I'd still feel better if we at least tested. I'd rather you not have to deal with anything like this. It's not a good thing to bear.
have you seen images or visions of a lady with a white face with red markings?
Not that what you saw.
That was what I saw when Sasha found out, and subsequently we all found out that I have Grim blood.
See. I could guess it's maybe whatever's connected to you. I've seen effectively this mask, she taps on her shoulder, in my dreams before when he tries to speak to me. Maybe whatever's attached to you has gained its own sentience. And if it can be done once, I guess it can be done again. Very concerning, though. I'm going to ask Simeon to also prepare to remove curse at your meeting.
Wait, are we gonna do an exorcism?
It's not strictly an exorcism, though it's possible that for yours that what is it? what is it called? Dispel evil and good could potentially work, but that's more of a church issue. If you'd like, you can try the church. They might be able to attempt to dispel the effect. I don't know if it'd work. It didn't work on me, but try. Would like to try?
My Discord timed out when it happened.
She effectively said that the dispel evil and good spell, potentially, maybe, it didn't work for her, but maybe it'll work for you if you want to try the church, and that she was going to have Simeon prepare remove curse to try it on you in the morning.
Ooh, thicket exorcism.
That was the same thing that...
Yeah, I heard that part.
Ah.
I just missed like right after she said the what was it? Dispel or remove
Dispel
evil and good. And then my Discord reconnected and she was like, "Does that sound good?" And I was like, "Wait, what?"
Oh. That's a lot to think about. Huh. Welcome back to town. Or to town. Have any of you been here before?
Nope.
Yes.
Nope.
Not me.
We're joining the race.
Did mention that.
Oh, right.
What are you choosing to ride? Do you have a horse or something?
I'm gonna be a
Riding
lion.
thicket.
Yeah, you can turn into animals, can't you?
Arr.
You'll be a terrifying beast, I'm sure. You said
Wait,
you have
did
multiple?
Thicket just try to make a menacing roar there?
Yes.
Because that's hilarious.
Well, I have a few things I'd like to see to, and I'll go ahead and let Simeon know at the next opportunity that I would like with him to meet you, and I will let you know if it can't happen. Ideally, it will. Is there anything else I can do for y'all while you're in town?
You could tell us a place that we could perform and make money.
The entertainment district?
Any place specifically in there?
The Moonstone Muse, if you don't have a play going now. There's some large performing stages just in the open. I don't necessarily know beyond that. There's likely a concert hall. But I know the theater, the Moonstone Muse, is the place where the biggest performances happen. Simeon occasionally likes to go to operas there. And he tends to drag me along to edify me through the power of song and intense emotional expectation. He says, looking in the air as if quoting him directly.
That sounds like a poor excuse.
I think he just wants someone to go with him. So I go.
Well, Grund, I think I know where we should go next.
Yeah, sounds like a good place to
Well,
spend a little bit of the evening.
I have to return, but best of luck to you all. And I'll come back and find you if I need you. And you know where to send a message for me.
Right on. You said you'll let us know. You'll let us.
Yes,
that we
I'll
should
let us
go.
know if there is a no. Otherwise, be at the base of the clock tower at 5:15.
All right. Well, thank you again, Oscar. It's a pleasure to see you, and I'm glad things seem to be going relatively well for you. And thank you for all your help.
As well as they can be. It's nice to see you all. She will step out.
Toodles.
Oh, toodles.
Oh, Eagles!
The most broken magic item in existence.
We've got ears.
I
Say
see.
cheers.
I've been hearing that so much this week. My girls are all about Mickey this week. Sometimes they go through phases, and it's like, and I don't hear anything else. They don't want to watch anything else. I'm like, come on, I'm needing to cook. Please, can I listen to anything else?
Your kids are lucky that you have cable.
Oh, that's not cable. That's Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
Oh, it's on Disney Plus now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I didn't even think about
Borrowed
that.
Disney. So
Oh goodness. I don't know if I'll let my kids have cable or Disney Plus.
I used to get so frustrated watching Mickey Mouse Clubhouse because they always saved the Mystery Mousecatool for last.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the flow of the show. It's kind of the
Yeah,
point.
but when you're a kid, you don't see
That's
the
fair.
pattern.
That's fair.
Except me, I did.
You hated the pattern.
It was too predictable.
It was. And that just teaches you if you watch that, it teaches you enough about shows in general that come later on, you can start predicting the end of like an episode of House or something.
mm-hmm.
Those whatever of the week shows are so predictable.
Monster of the
Like-
Week or Case of the Week, etc.
Monster of the Week, Case of the Week, Disease of the Week. It's actually funny because I've watched like 4 different
Disease
doctor
of the
shows
Week is
now,
fine.
and like I've watched House, I've watched Grey's. I'm watching The Good Doctor with my wife. I think I've watched another doctor show at one point, but you see the same super rare diseases in
All the
every
time.
show.
And it's always a rare disease. No one's ever just dealing with cancer.
Yeah.
Is there anything the party would like to do? Where you're choosing to go next? Are you going to the Moonstone Muse? Are you attempting to find other theaters or places you can perform along the entertainment district?
It's still like afternoon, right?
Yeah.
It is about 3 o'clock now, yes.
So we ate lunch. Yeah.
Yeah, presumably y'all would have eaten while talking to her just after.
If I offered
yeah.
her the Displacer
try
Beast
it.
meat. Ha!
She would try it and be very intrigued. And let me check. It doesn't teleport away or anything. She just chews it. I was like, oh,
Nice.
interesting. Very
He's
weird.
got some magical resistance.
She doesn't. She just rolled one. But yeah, sure.
She's just built different.
Just built different, Yeah. If you'll have any initial plans, I'll narrate as you'll go into whatever the next place is, but it is about 10:45 my time. It means it's late for some of you yahoos.
I represent that comment.
You represent. You don't resent, you represent.
My mom says that.
I love that. I'm using that now.
Where do you think I got that? I got
she
that
says,
from my
she
dad.
says I
He says it all the
resemble
time.
that comment.
Mm-hmm. That's what my grandmother says too.
Uh,
I think it was a popular Minion meme on Facebook for a while.
Alright. Well, as you'll move on to wherever is next, whether it be the entertainment district, preparations for the week, research, or otherwise, as you eat upon the very nice sandwiches and water, maybe even some fresh juice in the Dapper Bee, take a break at new visions of the future, new information you never expected to get, bringing new light to requests and issues you'd become privy to. We're going to end the session there. What was the joke? What was the thing for the money that you offer?
Hmm?
No,
What was
that-
the?
what was the
what
thing
was
that
our-
we were going to say?
We're,
So we should.
we're lower middle class.
Lower middle
You
class.
are lower middle class
adventurers.
adventurers. Yeah, that was it. So now I could put it on the thumbnail. So we said just before we started that they were lower middle class adventurers, and then we never remembered to come back in and say it. Or maybe I'll just say y'all are poor.
I tried to make a segue for it, and no one remembered.
No, didn't at all. congratulations on the information. I wasn't sure if y'all were just gonna be like, yeah, we need to talk to him about a book, and then y'all go in there and then just say, hey, we need this book, and him be
I
like,
was about to
well,
go above table and ask if we actually wanted to share that, and
I
then Garon just went out with it and was like, okay, whatever.
It was one of those things where, like, she has shown herself to be trustworthy in questionable circumstances, and honestly, it was one of those things where, like, I was going with my gut that Garand understood her properly, and that she wouldn't have a dog in the fight. And
Fair enough.
so it's just like, I guess we'll see, because that was...
And now y'all have new context for her knowing Simeon well, and hesitantly, like, at the time, disguising it as calling him an acquaintance. And when I mentioned, I think it was when I was talking to Chris about the spell, whether it was going to be Helion's magmatic boar or Simeon's magmatic boar, and I was like, yeah, they do two different kinds of things, and just dodging around any implication that, yep, they're married.
Yeah, that was really, really good that, like, that specific thing came up, because I was all like, why would it be his spell? He's got nothing to do with it. And now it makes more sense. That's funny.
Why he might have come up with a spell like that. Yep. They're married. And though it won't really come up, she keeps the name Helion because she has books that she's written and other stuff.
Every author and/or doctor and/or actor always
They just keep the name. It's every
because
life
that's
is
where their
easier.
notoriety is.
Yeah. She's also older than him by a bit. Not an obscene degree, but she's older than him by a bit.
She's only 1,000 years older than him. It's fine.
1,000? She's only like 30 or something older. Maybe a little more. Actually, no, a bit more than that. That's not the point.
Maybe she was. Maybe once and done.
She is human. She has access to some powerful magic. Simeon is also human. Y'all don't know how old he is. Depending on how fast y'all went, if y'all like skip to the next morning, I would have shown y'all his art, but that's okay. We'll leave that next week. He looks older than she does. She looks... I described her as late 20s, early 30s. He looks a bit older.
So can we get our session GP?
Yep, you can say it's session XP. GP is a whole different issue.
He tried to do it.
He did.
I'm gonna try from now on. You will hear that question every time. Can we get session GP, please?
Just full send.
I'm gonna become that lady from Sweeney Todd. Arms for a miserable woman.
I kind of like it though. Maybe from now on I'll just make all my campaigns low cash.
No.
You just want us to beg, don't you?
Yeah, maybe. Let's see. I'm sure y'all will stumble your way along more money. Oh, let's say... Sure. Let's go with 5,000 experience for the session XP.
5,000 gold?
5,000 experience.
Oh, that's so
And
much
here, y'all
gold.
can-
No way! We get 5,000 gold, you guys!
Here,
Woohoo!
session GP, here is 5. Session GP total.
Woo! We did it!
You each got 1 gold piece. Congratulations.
We did it. Yeah.
Have any of you seen the previews or the show called The 8 Show on Netflix?
I don't know, but I am going
No.
to go ahead and end the stream side of this so people can come and go whenever they... I'm sorry, not stream, but recording side. So we can say goodbye, YouTube. We appreciate you. Hope you have a lovely night, wonderful week, whatever your time frame is before you listen to another episode. Goodbye. God be with you.
Adios!